Alrighty, guys. We're sitting down today with Jarryd McNeil, 15 times X Game medalist, absolute legend in the sport, and Australian icon. Jarryd, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good to be on the show.
I've got to say, you pick up a bit of an American accent.
Really?
Yeah, I can notice it a little bit for sure.
I'll have to put my more Aussie accent on then. Shit, I don't want to hear that, dude.
Yeah, got to keep the
Yeah.
Australian. Yeah,
Yeah, bro. How's it going, man?
yeah, mate.
Oh,
There you got a
yeah,
beer out.
it's probably definitely more Americanized when you have to talk to them all the time and they don't understand you. Then it's just yeah, going
Yeah,
through
true.
drive-throughs and stuff. It's just a nightmare when you try and ask for a cheeseburger and they're like, "So you want nuggets?" And you're like, "No, no, I don't know where you got that from." But anyway,
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah. It helps when I talk more Aussies though. It kind of brings it back out.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. How does it go? Do people like hearing like the Aussie accent? Is it different for them
Yeah,
over?
yeah. Because it's funny because like for you, you're like you've grown up knowing me, so it's like you understand where my voice has probably changed a little bit. But to an American, straight off the bat, they know that I'm Aussie, so
Yeah.
it's like it's helpful, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then an American accent to me is just normal now. It doesn't even sound unless I go to the south, like Louisiana, like over that side, like it's the like middle to the east coast. I notice their accents a little more, or like Boston. It's kind of just like certain Aussies, you know what I mean, like Bogan Aussies, and
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, Boston accents are they're quite interesting. Like they're completely different to an American one, aren't they?
yeah, it's like almost like Italian, like it's an
Yeah.
Italian English, like they're more Italian, I think, out there. So they're influenced from that.
So a fact I'll guarantee nobody watching this knows. You and I are almost brothers.
Yeah. So did you like how I said that to you yesterday? I messaged you about
Yeah, I
it.
did. I forgot all about it, eh? I did like vaguely remember it being mentioned when I was younger, but yeah, that's who
We
knew?
could have been. It's
Okay.
funny, like it's crazy to think that our parents grew up together. Like, what was I telling you? My dad told me a story. Like, he's just like, yeah, I used to date Kale's mum when we were in high school or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. We're hanging out with our dads.
Yeah, super random, huh?
Yeah.
Super random. But like small town, right? Like we're all from a small area, so everyone kind of went to like Krang High and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so Krang's got a population of maybe 2,000, something like that. Like it's a
I
very,
don't even I don't even think it's that.
it's not
No,
that.
no, no, it is. It's under 3,000. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
But
yeah,
then say Maribit, where you more so grew up, it was like a population
yeah.
double digits,
20, no,
pushing 10.
maybe I don't even know what it would be. Like 40 people, maybe.
Like I don't even know if it would
And they
register.
could probably pump the numbers up to like 100 people if they count all the farms around there.
Yeah, and all the visitors that pass
What's
through.
uh, what's Kundruk?
Kundruk is a good question. I think it's 1,400,
Is it really?
maybe. Yeah, or that
That's
might
not
be,
including. That's not including Barham.
could be, could be. Not too good on my population numbers, but they're small anyway.
Yeah.
So they've got one place to get food, a post office, a cafe, one servo. That's pretty well it. Give people
Is
enough.
there only one? Is there only one on your side though? Are you saying that, or on the? How
Yeah,
many servos are in Barham?
just the one. Just one.
The one at the roundabout?
Nah, so that one's shut down. Now there's a new BP up the road a bit, and that's it.
What?
Yeah, that's it. It's probably shrank
What?
since you were there last, I reckon, because all the
Yeah.
young
What
people
about
are away.
what about when you like go over the river? There used to be a servo there, right?
Yeah, apparently that one got water in the tank, so they shut it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
is my I think my what would you call her? My not my auntie, like my cousin. She has the restaurant. I don't know if she still has the restaurant across the pub, straight across when you cross over to Barra.
Yeah, it's Swinglers?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that your cousin?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Fuck, I didn't even
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Julie's kicked me
Yeah,
out
we
of there a
were.
few times.
Have you? Yeah, Yeah, that's my they're relations of mine.
Oh, you're kidding. I didn't even know. So to give the people watching a bit of context, like most people will just know you now, living in America, freestyle, you got
Yeah,
your
yeah,
car, you got your property. But you did grow up in probably the smallest town in Australia, or definitely one of.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
out in the bush, out in the sticks, tiny little town, surrounding tiny little towns, just normal kid growing up. Explain how that was.
Good place to grow up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's in the middle of bum F.
Insert.
Am I allowed to curse on here or what?
Yeah, go for it.
A little bit of bum fuck.
Don't get weird, but you can go.
Yeah, sweet. Say some swear words.
Yeah, go for it, mate. No one watches these
Yeah.
anyway.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's good though. You've been crossing the Murray and making bit of a name for yourself too, which is cool. Stirring trouble.
Yeah, look, I learned stir in trouble from you of that dog video.
Yeah, that's good though. Keep people on their toes.
Yeah, it is fun, mate. It's if people are silly enough to get stirred up on the internet, then you got to stir them, don't you?
Yeah,
It's all a
yeah.
game. But
All the Karens come out in Barham and Kundruk, eh?
oh, mate, yeah, the other day I got two fines from that. It was like 3 grand exercise just doing burnouts
Did
at the
they
front.
really?
Yeah, so I don't know who it was, but look, I was
It's
carrying
hard
on.
to not. It's hard to not know who you are in town. Like the police know exactly where to go to.
Yeah, he just pulls in straight into the back house, up on the deck. Yeah, but
It's like, Kale, what have I told you?
again, son. Well, I was doing them right out the front of my dad's house. So it was pretty obvious it was me, and it was recorded, so I wasn't hiding it. But I still got fines. I was unregistered,
Did
unlicensed
they?
on that one. Yeah.
Did they get you? Do they pull your actual driver's license? No.
Um. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, it's attached to it. So
Like you'll lose your car license.
lost it.
You have. What about your plane license?
No, I still got my plane license. So people think flying's like highly regulated, but it is. Like you got to not kill anyone, so it's quite stringent to get your license. But once you've got it, there's no police in the skies. There's no speed limit. There's no like roads to follow. You just kind of do what you want.
Right.
Yeah, like there's not as long as you don't run into anyone and you
Yeah.
pay attention when you land. It's other than that, it's like the sky's a
And
bit.
you can't be like intoxicated, but who's testing you? No.
Yeah, you can fly home and you have a beer or two, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's no one like there's no auditors or regulators or coppers driving
But
around.
even if you lose it, it's not like a truck license. If you lose your car license, you lose your truck license. It doesn't connect.
Nah, complete separate entity. So RAOs register planes. Well, that's who I'm registered through, and they're just their own separate, just like Motorcycle in Australia would be for motorbikes. They're fully
Yeah.
separate. Yeah,
So you have lost your license now?
yeah. I was just pulling it up. Make sure it's still going.
You're licenseless.
I'm licenseless.
So what did they say to you?
In
Well, they
one state.
actually, I'm always wondering, like, because we did some stupid stuff as kids, but we still could get fined.
You can't say it, but it's got
Oh,
suspended.
you had to go to the police station.
That day.
Yeah,
Nah, so what happened? I was doing burnouts out the front. I was going pretty quick up and down the road doing wheelers, whatever. Middle of nowhere, small town.
yeah.
Someone's called the cops. He's got a report and he's just whatever. He didn't come up. I've gone out again, done more burnouts, gone faster up the road, and he's got another call. So he's like, "Fuck! Well, now I've got to go down there and do something about it." So he's driven down. I'm sitting on the back deck having a beer. It's like 4 in the afternoon with me mate. Send the cop car rolling in. Fuck. Get the camera rolling, set it up, this, that. So we're recording it, hiding my beer away, and he walks up and goes, "Right, black marks out the front. Who was it?" Fuck, he's serious. And then he pulled us out the front, just talking, whatever. Got the VIN number off the bike. It was full serious, and then I probably shouldn't say it's on camera, but I will. It's very serious for like 10 minutes, and then at some point they got the little camera. Probably shouldn't say that, but it got less
Yeah,
serious all of a
yeah,
sudden. And I thought I
yeah.
wasn't going to get fines. So he gets it, but I still got fines. So
Dude, but like, is it an instant loss of license because you're unregistered on a bike, or is it because you lose so many points in a sense, like because you have 12 points or whatever, right? So I'm guessing you probably lost a few here and there, and then that kind of like topped it off in a sense.
yeah, correct. So you get a 12-point quota and you can fill up all
Yeah,
12. I think I was on my last few, and then it was
yeah,
unregistered bike. unlicensed because I don't have my bike license either.
You
And then
don't? Don't you have a street bike?
no, yeah.
Don't you have a Harley?
I had my L's when I was on that. Yeah, I sold my Harley, but I had my L's,
Oh,
and then I just let it expire because you got to get for your P's like every 2 years or something like that.
yeah. I did that. Then I went back and got it, and now I have my bike license in Oz.
Gotcha.
But since COVID, I've lost my license in Australia's ran out because I haven't been home yet. So I wonder if I still have a license.
Yeah, I don't know. They're so yeah, like when you get your L's, you've only got 12 months to upgrade it to your P's, and then like so long to
Yeah.
get to your pulls, and I just keep not doing it. I start it. And,
So
yeah.
uh, Ryan Mitchell, like Rhino and myself, we went and got ours, and
Yep.
then he let his fold, and I went and got mine, and
Yeah.
so he lost his. I don't know. He might have it now. I'm not sure, but yeah, we
Good.
went and got ours together. Yeah,
It's a good idea to get them because man, it's getting so hard to like pass all the tests and do all the regulations and all the stuff now when you go and get a ticket for basically anything. But
still a bunch of shit drivers and riders out there though. They still seem to get it, don't
it hasn't fixed the quality, no.
they?
This costs more. But,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
very good, mate.
That's funny. That's a good story.
Yeah. So
Especially when it's like a town that's just in the middle of nowhere, but they've got nothing to do, right? Like these guys have there's no crime in Barramukundruk. You know what I mean? The only thing is just probably crackheads.
what's kind of funny when we film, because I live in Echuca, which is like a pretty populated area. I'm like, I don't want to do
Oh,
anything.
so that was in Echuca.
No. Like I live, that's where I am now in Echuca.
Oh, that's what I know because I thought it was at home, right? Your dad's. So
Yeah, it was
yeah,
at Dad's, but I don't do illegal things here, like ride on roads,
yeah, big
cross the
town.
river,
Yep,
whatever, because I
yeah.
think I'll get in trouble. And then in Kundruk, typically there's not even an officer on duty. So I'm like, we'll just fucking go there and, carry on. Not that day.
Was he a Denny? Was he a Denny cop?
Nah, he's a local Kundruk copper. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, Barham might be Denny cops come over.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not a bad
New
guy, but
South.
when
What's that?
I said he's not a bad guy, but I guess when someone calls you twice to do something, they kind of got to go and do
Yeah,
something. So,
yeah, that's fair enough. Well, then so you're still flying your plane? Do you fly to Kundruk?
I just sold it, actually, just sold my plane. But no, there's no runway in Kundruk. There's one between Kundruk and Murrabit.
A
That's
private one?
just a private one. Yeah, I don't know whose land it is, but there's one
Just
there.
land on the road.
You can. Yeah, as long as you
Just
can get
land
it.
on the Murrabit Road or something. Just
You could out
the
there,
Kundruk Krang Road.
driving through the street.
Uh, oh, so you sold it?
Yeah, I've sold it. Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna get another one then?
Nah, so pretty fortunate. Grandpa's still got his Cessna 182. I don't know if you ever would have
Yeah,
seen that. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's
I think that's what you got you into it. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, so he always flew since as early as I can remember. And he has a Cessna 182 Skylane, which is a 5-seater. So it'd be like
Yeah,
up to 2-seater. So it'd be stepping up and jumping in.
yeah,
So I gotta
yeah.
go.
That'll be sick.
But yeah, it'd be awesome. Like you could fit a full-size bike in that one.
Where does he park that at?
It's in the Moama hangar. Yep, over here where I
Oh,
live.
okay.
Yeah.
Or you could fly to Krang, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Crane's got a good airport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I'd love to get into something yeah, like it's such a big price tag on those things, but a plane or a helicopter,
Yeah.
or I almost want to get into paragliding. That'd be pretty sick, like paramotor, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's got to pull the trigger.
you should do it, man. It's awesome. Like it's kind of funny
Yeah,
once you start to fly, you realize like the limits, like the boundaries you work within, they're not really there in the sky. You can kind of just do whatever, basically, like even as far as like your skill level goes and where you want to
yeah,
go and things like that. Whereas when you're on the ground, you're kind of like regulated by roads and rules and fences and
yeah,
other cars
yeah.
and things like that. So flying's awesome in that way. It teaches you a lot too. Like you can't fuck around. Like you got to be a
It'd be
cat.
s- I'd love to have a bush plane. Have you seen like
Oh yeah.
the like ones that can just like stop in like 40 feet or whatever? Like you can just and then you can take off in the same distance. Like they're just big wingspan.
Yeah, correct. I think kit foxes they call them. So they weigh like
Yeah,
60 kilos.
yeah. Do they
Yeah.
have them in Oz? Do they have many of them in Oz?
Yeah, there's a few like people usually make them if they buy them. And so they'll have like the
Yeah,
big rubber tires. I
yeah,
think that stall speed is like 30 miles, so 60 kilometers.
crazy,
And then they can
crazy.
yeah, they touch down and just basically pull up. So they're kind of almost like a helicopter in a way. You can just land wherever you want.
Then you could just fly in and land at your dad's place and then fly out.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be sick to be able to land in your own backyard.
Yeah, that's kind of the only like criticism of a plane is you have to land it at a runway for the most part. So it's like
If you, yeah, by law, you mean?
yeah, by law and like and sort of necessity. So planes, I mean, you can land them in like bumpy ground and stuff like that, but you do have to just be
Right.
pretty careful because
Yeah,
there's never prop strike and
yeah,
what happened
yeah, for
to me, like
sure.
I folded my front wheel up and its plane parts aren't they're not cheap. Yeah.
Really, just on a runway.
Yeah, just my local runway, they resurfaced it and I took it out in the morning, whatever, went for a flight. It was really early, so the sun was behind me. So I landed, was taxiing in, and when they resurfaced it, it was must have been quite wet, and there was a rut from one of the graders. It's only like that deep. And with the sun behind me, I didn't see it. It just looked like it was flat.
Don't.
Taxied into it, man. It was only that big. Just hit it, folded the front nose wheel up because they're designed to like take a hit and then fold up. It was 25 grand, I think.
No way.
Mm.
No way.
After that, I'm landing at runways and I go slow everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, costly, very costly.
for sure. Sure.
Yeah, good stuff.
How's it been growing up in Maribor, now living in California?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, just um, I mean, LA is just a dump. Um, can't stand that place. But I think where I am, like, I guess it'd be more rural country. Temecula is like kind of one of the last dying breeds of redneck area for Southern California. So a lot more people, a lot more patriot people, and just more Americans. What I call Americans, just good old boys out here. So it's kind of more like home in a sense. Yeah, like LA is good for flying out of, and the industry here is really good and really strong. So it's good for like my program with sponsors and just being in the industry and things like that. California's pretty sick. The riding here is really good. It's slowly getting pushed out because of just people that live in LA don't really like dirt bikes, or they super protective over their bugs and butterflies and shit like that. So they're a, they're a different breed, but
Are they the
they're just
Biden
trying to
voters?
shut down. What's that?
Are they the Biden voters?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So so without getting political, but yeah, they just think a little bit different. They're just
Yeah.
in their own little world in there, and they seem to like start coming out this way and pushing us um outdoor kind of recreational off-road kind of people. We're trying to where it's like almost a constant battle against those kind of people here. But we have some, like California's sick, like living where we are. Like, we were up snowboarding the other day. It's an hour and 40 minutes to go to the snow if I want to go
Yeah.
snowboarding and things like that. If I want to go just touch the snow within an hour, not even 45 minutes up near Cougar Creek, you can go see the snow up there and just go sledding or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Um, Less than an hour from the beach if I want to go down to the beach, which I don't really go near the beach that much. I'm not really much of a beach person, but go there. If you want to go to the rivers, like if you want to go out to Havasu or whatever, like Parker and stuff like that, it's like just under 3 hours.
Yeah.
Got just tons of cool stuff, like all just what like it's super fast paced. So like coming from Oz, Murrabit, Kundruk, Barham, Kerrang, it's like those towns we don't even have traffic lights. And then you come here and you got the 91 freeway, which is like 5 lanes. Not only is the traffic moving fast and it's just chaos in there, but just like everyone's super fast paced. Like everything's just go, go, go. How quick can I get this? I need this now. A lot of entitled people in California. So everything's just really fast paced. And so coming from a place that's country, farming, rural to California was a big eye opener. Traffic, obviously just different things culturally, a little bit different, but really we are Americans and Aussies are very similar. So and it's the same. Like if you go to Melbourne, like the people in the city are more like the city people here. Country people here are more like the country people there. So it's just kind of relevant to where you live. But yeah, where I am, I love it. Love it out here. It's pretty sick. I got no complaints. Like the town that I live in, I love the town. It's a super clean, nice town. You can get all the stuff you need as far as like for cars, vehicles, tractors, bikes. If you need stuff for your house, it's just got everything. It's a real like central location to a lot of big freeways. So it's quite easy to get stuff pretty fast because now I've become accustomed to just like I need it now. When stuff breaks, whereas at home you're like so used to Ruger. At home you're so used to like just waiting on stuff to get there, or you got to go to Bendigo, or you got to go down to Melbourne and do the drive. So yeah, it kind of gets hard. We're getting interrupted here. Got the family coming in right. Got home from school. He had a bad day, so he had to come home early.
He's home early.
He's like he might be like his father. He's misbehaving.
No stranger in trouble.
Yeah, so no, he was sick the other day, so I think he's not feeling too well. So
Yeah,
mum just went and picked him up and brought him home.
yeah.
So early day.
So
But, yeah,
I'm not sure what units you guys use, but how many acres do you live on there?
I've got 10 acres here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it just sounds like 9.8 or 9.9 acres. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that getting your own bit of land? Because I remember you as a kid, like always out in the backyard, always in the sandpit, always playing with
Yeah.
machines, always riding
Yeah.
bikes. Like I could never picture you being in like inner city suburbia. So
Yeah.
if I was to like know you then and then flash forward and see you now, like that's exactly what I'd probably think Jarryd would be doing, driving
Yeah.
machines,
Yeah.
bikes, and out on the land. That's nothing's really
Yeah.
changed there. How's that?
Nah, nothing. Because I lived, like, when I first moved to the US, I lived in Yorba Linda, Orange County, which is kind of all the people that were in Orange County and stuff like that, Yorba Linda, they all kind of got pushed to come out to this area. So when you actually meet a lot of people and start to become a local here, you realize all your, like what I'd say our parents, friends and stuff, if I was relating it to that, they are all from Orange County, Yorba Linda and that. So they all got pushed out here. So I think for me, like when I first moved here, I lived with a sponsor in Brea for a few years, and then on and off. And then I had an apartment in Temecula. So I was coming out here and I was staying out here. And then one of my ex-girlfriends, I lived with her family in Yorba Linda. So we were like bouncing back and forth between having an apartment. Then I'd get out of that after a 3 to 6 month lease, and then go on Nitro Circus, and I'd be touring around the world. And then I'd come back and I'd be staying with her family for I ended up staying there for a few years, but like it was helpful back then because I was trying to find something where I could live, and like I would come out and ride with a fellow rider out here in Temecula wine country, and I always I just living in Yorba Linda and that just the freeways, like driving to Parla Raceway to ride the ramps or going to Temecula to ride the ramps was like, I mean, if it's a good day with no traffic and you're going against the traffic, you'd be from Yorba Linda to Temecula within like an hour, to Parla like an hour and a half. And then if you timed it wrong, it was like 3 hours one way or 2.5. Like it's just ridiculous.
Wow.
So doing that on the 91 freeway and the 15, I really just had to, at the time I didn't have a lot of money, so I was always just trying to like figure out like renting or staying with my ex's family and things like that, going back and forth. And then kind of 2016 got to a good point in my career where with sponsors and things like that, and was able to save some money and get a deposit for a property or a house. And most of the riders like your Madison and Twitch and guys like that, they all live like right in Temecula. Like they have courses, like smaller backyard courses, but like they have courses right in Temecula. Like it's crazy that they're like almost grandfathered in to where they kind of get away with it in a sense. And I didn't even want to go near that. Like I didn't have the money to go near that anyway. But like it's just you just have a lot more rules and regulations in there and people watching you all the time. And out where I am, you can kind of get away with a little bit more and have a bit more freedom. Everyone out here has a lot more acreage. So like 5 acres is kind of a minimum, but most people have 10, 20 acres out here and up. So it's kind of a little bit more rural. We're at 2,300 feet where I am. So I'm a little bit higher altitude than Temecula and just a lot nicer out here, more countryside. So for us to get to town, it takes us like 30 minutes. So it's kind of a drive out here. It's not like if you were to do a straight line as a crow flies, you know, it'd be a lot quicker, but it's just like back roads all through wine country. So
Gotcha.
just a little bit more slow pace. And then you got all the idiots that come out of the wineries and stuff from LA and they just don't know what direction they're going or, yeah, just probably wasted or something. Who knows? Just dangerous, really. But yeah, I
What
love
age
it.
were
It's
you
good
when
out
you
here.
bought the
Like,
property?
it's sweet. What's that?
What age were you when you bought the property?
What was I? It was like what 7, 8. It was 2016. So what's that? 7 years ago? 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
8 years.
I'd be like 25,
That's
right?
pretty
No,
young.
25. Yeah, something like that.
And
Yeah.
you did like you've never, not in a bad way, but you've never actually had to work just a real proper 9 to 5. Like this has all been done by riding bikes.
Yeah. No. Like I guess like what do you call that? Like I've worked, right?
Everyone's worked.
I worked when I was like before I came to America. I was working in a gravel pit, working for this company in just out of Yarrawonga.
Oh,
What are they? Goldman's, I think they're called. They're big. They're between Cobram and Yarrawonga,
yeah,
and I was working for them to make money. And obviously, like growing up, like I worked when I got out of school at 15. I was at 14 and 9 months. I worked as a welder. I didn't have an apprenticeship. I was just a I don't know what would you call it, tradie, just on the
yeah,
tools, helping, learning the gig without going to a trade school. But that was all to support my racing at home, really. And then I had to save some money before I came to my first X Games in 2010. So I think I came over with like 1,500 Aussie dollars to my name. So I didn't really have much money. I had like a
yeah,
Toyota
yeah,
Hiace and a bike at home, like a Yamaha 450 I was paying off at that time, and I had a 252 stroke I brought off cam.
yeah.
And then, so I had really no money to my name. I got Sam Moore from Fist bought me a plane ticket. So I just had some companies from Oz that helped me get over here. But yeah, I came over here with nothing. No, like, yeah, 1,500 Aussie dollars. At that time, it was kind of closer. The dollar was a little closer, I think. So that was good. But yeah, no, everything I've done over here has been just from riding dirt bikes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, can't complain. It's definitely been a good life and
Yeah.
good trip. So yeah, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
stoked.
it's just impressive, like for say the average person that listens to this and thinks of like, how could I ever own a property in America by age
Yeah,
25, been living there full time, and it's like it would seem like it's impossible. You went from like the smallest town ever, couple of
yeah.
jobs here and there, made it on the bikes. Next thing you're a US citizen, basically.
I think I wish I was a citizen.
Oh, we won't go there.
Like it's the old in your arm, but the that's a different story for later. But but yeah, I think like something for me, I don't know, like at 8 years old, I had the American flag on my wall. I always wanted to be in the US. And as you know, like racing motocross, that was where I really wanted to be growing up, looking up to certain riders and wanting to be in the United States racing. And seeing certain guys I raced against coming over and going to America at a young age and stuff like that really wanted me to be here racing, and that was kind of my career path. And then obviously we can dive into that, but just like getting the opportunity to come to X Games, and that was like my in, right? Like I got to come to X Games in 2010 for best whip as a freestyle rider, and then getting my foot in the door. You know, a lot of dudes from Australia can either hold on to that X Games and they can travel back and forth, but like I didn't have the money to go back and forth, so I had to like kind of like stay here until tour was going back with Nitro Circus, and I could go back home. And I think a lot of Aussies, um, they either want to live the American dream for a bit, but they don't want to stay here and do it. But if you want to be in America and you want to make a career out of riding a dirt bike in America, you can't bounce back and forth. It's just not going to work. Like you can try as hard as you want, but as soon as you go home, you're forgotten about, right? So a lot of the biggest problems, and like something that I'd say to anyone that wants to come to the United States and make a career, is don't go home. Like as soon as you go home, you'll lose it all. And like you'll just, yeah, unless you've got something really good happening to where you come back and then you start again, but you kind of have to stay here and tough it out. So like for the first like what 2-3 years was really cool because I was in America, but people don't realize how hard it is to live in another country. As much as it all looks fruity and stuff on social media and that, when you move somewhere else, like growing up where we grew up, like you can call somebody when you're on the side of the road and they'll come and help you, or you're moving houses and somebody will help you, and like you have good mates that you've grown up with, going to school with, and things like that. Where when you move halfway around the world, there's no one there for you. Like
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of relationships. Um, Obviously, I liked dating and having a girlfriend and stuff all through my life, but like also when you live halfway around the world, if you don't have somebody in your life, whether it's a best mate or a girlfriend or a wife or a figure that's like that, when you crash and your parents, like I moved here when I was 18 years old, so like
Yeah.
my parents are at home in Australia, right? And I'm getting messed up on dirt bikes over here and going to hospital, and like that's a big, that's a really hard thing to deal with. You know, when your car breaks down the side of the road, who do you call? So and then yeah, you build relationships with dirt bike people. People come and go in that world. People get out of it. People come into it, and relationships. You can build good relationships, but they just take a lot longer to build, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely not easy. But yeah, as an Aussie coming over here, I feel like a lot of Aussies really don't give it their full potential, right? I don't think they don't embrace it. They don't want to live in America, or they want to live in America just for the fruits, but they don't want to live here in a sense, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? They want to make the money, they want to make the sponsors, but then do they see themselves being here long term, right? And that's the thing too, right? Like, I'm now married with a kid to an American, so it's like, what do you meet somebody and you meet people and people come into your life, so it's like, where do you like, you know, do they want to move back to Australia? No. So do you want to be here, or where do you want to be? What do you want to do? So like you have to like navigate a different place and different people, and yeah, your life changes a lot. So yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's impressive, mate. Like the effort that goes in just to have like the average life to have a
The
job.
mental state, like just mentally, what
Yeah,
goes into it.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And you
yeah,
basically like you're starting from scratch in everything you do when you move to another
yeah,
country. You did all that
yeah,
from age 18 till 25.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild. I was my first X Games step up goal 2016. I had a phone call from my realtor, like what 30 minutes before I went out to the contest, and they were like, "Yep, pick your keys up on Tuesday," because I was coming back from Austin. So I could have got on Monday, but I wasn't going to be back in time. So I picked them up on Tuesday, moved in Wednesday, Thursday, built a freestyle landing and rode it Thursday, Friday. in my backyard at home in Cali. So it's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah,
That's nuts. We'll get a little
yeah.
more into your freestyle career in a minute. I want to reverse,
Later. Yeah,
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 and we'll start on the younger days. A few people are starting to learn it now, but a lot of people wouldn't know that you were one of the best motocross racers in Australia in your own right.
yeah,
Explain
yeah.
those times.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it is funny because like even like I notice like me when I go on like one thing that gets me is like I go on social media and like I look at like fan bases in Australia and I look at like my followers from Australia and I'll randomly just here and there I'll just randomly click on someone's page and just feel like, oh sweet, they're all like this person's like in motocross following all these people from the United States that I ride against or compete against. And I'm like, I wonder if they follow me. And they don't. Like my following in Australia is quite interesting about like, I don't know, maybe a lot of people are like, oh, he's really like maybe he's like, oh, he's really Americanized or he's American now and like kind of forget like where like maybe they turn to like that kind of stuff to where like maybe they don't like it. I don't know, even though I'm a proud Aussie and I'm so stoked that I'm an Aussie, like got the Aussie flag. But it's like, it's just kind of funny seeing that. Like, I don't think a lot of people at home, unless you grew up in that era, um, like the Lawrences and stuff like that, they were kids when we were like when I
Yeah.
was winning Australian championships and stuff like that. So like, um, seeing that stuff and like and the fan bases at home, like, yeah, I don't think a lot of Aussies really knew. Like, if you knew who I was back then, yeah, but like, I don't think a lot of people really knew that I was a Australian champion and a top racer back home, and yeah, it is
Yeah.
quite funny.
So
Yeah,
I guess
definitely.
like our era and anyone
Yeah,
older than us understand that you
yeah,
raced the kid all the way through juniors, won Australian
yeah,
titles. Then during
yeah,
your best whip few years there, like all of Australia was behind you, getting you the gold.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
maybe the generations younger than us, say 5 years and younger, they won't know
yeah.
you were ever even in Australia.
Nah,
They're just like, there's another guy in America riding by.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
you definitely do notice that. So I remember when you first stepped into the X Games world, like all of Australia was behind you. I remember
100%. Like
Facebook
I've
and
got
Instagram
like,
lit
don't
up
get
when
me
you,
wrong, I've got really core fans from back home.
yeah,
Like a lot of people, yeah, it's crazy. Like you talk to people and like, oh, I remember your 2007 Aussie title against Ty, and like
everyone
it
remembers that.
still comes up all the time, dude. It comes up all the time, and like that's what I mean. Like people that knew me from that era know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the newer generation, I found it a lot harder to crack the new younger Aussie generation on social media kind of things. Even like, yeah, it's just social media, but it is what it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I do on
you
TikTok
know,
dances.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
good stuff.
yeah, so for those that don't know, like I was with Greg Moss yesterday, and I mentioned I was
Yeah,
doing this interview with him, and straight away eyes light up. Oh, 2007, call him, Ty Simmons. Like I don't think there's
yeah,
anyone in Australia, say older than the age of 20, that wouldn't know about that race in Coolum. That was
yeah,
it was pretty iconic at its time. Like if you took the two like juggernauts of Australian motocross, Ty Simmons was it in the bit,
yeah,
factory ride, had everything, was slated to be Australia's next big thing. He did come to America and he ended up retiring,
yeah,
but
yeah.
basically you and him went head and head at Coolum. I'll let you take the story from there.
Yeah, I mean, just growing up with Ty, right? Like, um, the support he had from factory KTM since he was, I think, I was on 50s or whatever, 65s and that, and it was always we always battled, right? Like it was like there's like a handful of us that were always like Keisha was one of the Vic guys that I battled with a lot. Kieran Hall, just there's some Ross Beat, and there's like a lot of really core dudes of my age group that we grew up battling, and Ty was, compared to all the rest of us, Ty was the one that got to come over and stay at Osborne's. He was top 3 at Loretta Lynn's. He was world minis.
Hmm.
And like the only way us Aussies, the rest of us, not Ty, but the rest of us, we never went to America on 85, 65s, 125s, 250s. We always had to just gauge how's Ty doing over there. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where we would like kind of gauge ourselves as like, oh, we're actually doing pretty good. Good Kai had come home and he was undefeated, right? Like as a junior racer in Australia, he was undefeated until I defeated him in 2007. So
Yeah.
leading into that race, like the year before we had Canberra, and we were battling on the 85s and the 125, and then coming into 07 Coolum, we were battling 125, 250. So I won a moto in the 250 class. I ran second to him on the 125 class, and then in the 250 class, it was I think I won the first moto, he won the second moto, and it came down to the last moto. And crazy because like you can still watch the race. It's actually like my dad busts it out all the
Oh,
time,
is
but
it?
he still lives through the moments on that one. But it's like, yeah, I think you can still look it up. It's like Jarryd McNeil, Ty Simmons, 2007 Coolum Aussie Junior titles, and it'll pop up somewhere
I'm watching that up.
online somewhere. But yeah, I mean, we passed each other so many times and battling, and Coolum, hot place, like blistered hands, friggin' some of the most brutal racing as an amateur or junior in Australia. And it came down to like the last corner. Ty kind of tried to rub me and not take me out, but kind of if he had the opportunity, would it he had the opportunity to take me out and he could have really taken me out, but he kind of hit my front end and then he kind of skipped out to the outside and he fist pumped over the tabletop and didn't realize that I was like right there on the inside of him. And I just kind of like put my head down. Ty's a bit bigger than me, so it probably takes a little bit more to move his bike than mine. And I just put my head down, my bum up, and just went straight for the inside as close as I could get to the transponder line. And I think it was like 0.03 something of a second that I beat him by. So it's probably like, who would even know if you could measure it? I don't even know. Somebody would probably chime in and measure it. But like, it was like tiniest bit I beat him by. And
millimeters.
yeah, you can watch it in the video. Like Ty thought he had it. And yeah, I beat him, which was cool because it's like, one, he was undefeated as an amateur, and people be like, oh yeah, he fist pumped and things like that, but it's like, yeah, the day I won the first moto, he won the second moto, so we were there, we were on the same pace. It was anyone's to win, right? We passed each other so many times, so it wasn't like that he was faster than me. We were both fast and we were both there, and it went through our whole amateur career. We all ran top three at a junior Aussie. So like on 85, 65, like we were all right up there in those classes, right? And so it was a matter of time before he kind of got beat. Yeah, I guess that was one of my highlights of my racing, right? Like to be an Australian champion, to come out of my junior year into my under 19s or pro years. Yeah, then the story just like starts taking a different path there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So did you ever win an Aussie junior title before that one?
No, that was my only junior Aussie.
So I think
seconds and third.
That was what was so impressive. Yeah, it was like you always got second and third.
Yeah,
was like
and the highest class, right?
Yeah,
like so the 16s 250 was like the ultimate class to go out of juniors in.
Yeah. So you were like the underdog the whole time, basically, like knocking on the door, and then in the final race, at like literally the very last second, you made the pass, got the win. Last race,
right?
Is top of the
like parents owning a Yamaha dealership in Australia. You'd think that I would be on the junior development team, right? Like you would think that would just go hand in hand. And for some reason, they were just like putting everyone else on the junior development team. And my parents had to fund all my racing out of Deniliquin Yamaha. I was a state champion, top three in Australia on an 85, 125, 250, and could never get my foot in the door with the junior development Yamaha team. Macca, which I don't know, he's interesting, but Macca gave me the opportunity to ride for him in 07, which was really cool. I appreciate that. Obviously wasn't on factory Motor X KTM, but got my foot in the door on the Macca team, so that was kind of cool. It felt good to be actually on some sort of team. Like, it was a privateer team, but we actually had a truck, and spent a lot of my time riding for Gas Imports. They were a massive part of my sponsorship with Thor and things like that as a kid growing up. So they helped me out a lot through the shop and then riding for Macca. So it was cool to ride for Gas on a privateer team and get bikes from KTM and stuff back then, which was awesome. And to then win a championship on that development team was really cool. Yeah, it was good. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. I don't think there's any racing fan in Australia that doesn't remember that race. It was
Yeah.
talk like a year after that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So,
yeah, to give the people that maybe don't know about your younger career, that was what it was. You were always pretty much a state champion, always top three, and then you finished it basically on top as high as you could get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finish it on top, and then after that, you think, sick. My pro season's going to be awesome. I'm going to get on a factory team. I'm going to have all these sponsors, and then you pit out of your dad's van.
So let's go in there. What happened there? So after you won it, you're basically the quickest kid in Australia at that point.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, so went into under 19s, had Jeff Lees talk a bunch of bullshit and tell me that, yeah, we're going to get you on a factory KTM ride. Yeah. You know, I will give it to Konski. Yuriv Konski really did help me. I wish he gave me a factory ride and didn't see it go to second, third, fourth place. Those guys, everyone else that got behind me, KTM took up Ty again. Keisha and them got factory, Honda, Arbonne, Honda. Like, all these dudes got factory rides. And there's Jarryd McNeil getting 4 bikes off of Honda, which was good. Don't get me wrong. I was like very thankful for that from Konski, but you know, Konski was like, I want to give you a ride. Leesky was like, I want to give you a ride. And it was almost like they were like going back and forth till they were just like, sorry, mate, neither of us are giving you a ride. Then Konski was like, look, I can't give you a factory ride, but I'll help you with parts and 4 bikes for the year. So I will say I really appreciate Konski because he does help out a lot of riders. He's always helped out a lot of riders. Maybe some politics here and there with certain riders and things and family and things like that getting involved, not to go down the rabbit hole, but yeah, just parenting and shit like that. That's just weird, but we won't go down that path. Stuff that my parents didn't like to do and things like that. But my family, my parents, they're just country people and they were just happy to get whatever we could get, right? We were just stoked to get anything off anyone, and my parents didn't do anything weird or shady or anything like that. We just went to races and they supported me. My parents weren't pushy. My dad was never a moto dad. He didn't grow up in the moto world, so dad was never that crazy ass guy that pushing me to do things I didn't want to do. And we just went out and raced and had fun, and it paid off, right? And we were hoping that just by being who we were in that industry, that it would have paid off, and it didn't pay off in racing. Like, there's just things that are above what we would do, or things that we'd get involved in or whatever. So didn't get a factory ride, pitted out of the van. Leading back to 07, I kind of went over to I spent a lot of time with this guy Bruce Wilkinson racing in Indonesia and stuff as an amateur. And
Bruce,
you remember Brucey?
I remember Brucey.
Yeah. So Bruce took Chad Reed to Indonesia when he was an amateur. So like, I was like, it's pretty cool. Like, to say that like this guy was like, he picked a very few handful of people and take him. Like, I would go over with him, like older guy, he'd take me to Indonesia racing. And what was really cool, like racing over there and stuff and working with Konski and doing stuff over there. Konski got me a freestyle show in 07 to ride. Well, it was through Konski. Obviously, I was riding KTM's at the time. He was Honda, but he had a freestyle just with the connections and stuff, being like pretty much a brother to Cade Mosick and stuff like that, Cam Sinclair, Bilko, and all that. So being in that kind of that group of people, and Konski got me over to me and Jackson Strong and Matty McFarren, a couple of us riders. We rode overseas in Singapore, did some freestyle shows, and that was kind of my introduction to the freestyle world in a sense. And that was the same year I won an Australian championship. I lived in Singapore for 6 weeks, and then came back home and won an Australian title. And I think kind of moving into 08 was kind of one of my first freestyle seasons, because at that time, Mum and Dad lost a bit of money and it was hard for us to keep racing. So I had to start picking up. I did some work as a welder and stuff like that when I left school. So over those years leading up, I left school at 15, or just before my 15th birthday. So I was working a part-time job for the first year or 8 months of my first year at 15 years old, just trying to put into my lifestyle, whether it was going down to Melbourne to train and stuff. So then 2007, I went over to Singapore to do freestyle. I was racing as an amateur that same year as well. So I was trying to help make money to help offset stuff from Mum and Dad's pocket. Then 08, we actually had a Yamaha dealership, but I was racing KTM, but because that was like all I could get on, right? And 08 recession, all that stuff, the drought in Australia. Mum and Dad had to close the shop down. So I got on 08, I got on with Konski with obviously leading to my pro year as a privateer. I got 4 bikes. So I had 2 freestyle bikes, a practice bike, and a race bike. And I was doing halftime shows at Supercross to pay for my racing, because we couldn't afford to go racing. But I wanted to keep racing because I wanted to be a professional racer still. But the only way I could do it was Mum and Dad were working full time. I was doing halftime shows to make a bit of extra money to put into my program, to go down to Melbourne to train and bike stuff and traveling, fuel, all that kind of stuff, just to live. And then, got through that season, like 08. I got on Crusty Demons, doing some Crusty Demon stuff as well. Broke my wrist. I had a Red Bull deal back then, so that was kind of cool, being like a young dude on an energy drink sponsor, which was really cool. A lot of people don't know that. It's kind of crazy when people like talk shit on social media and they'll be like, "Oh, so who's next? Red Bull." I'm like, "Yeah, I've been there, mate. I've had all 3 energy drink companies. Like, what are you talking about? Monster's the best." But going through all that kind of stuff and just working through that. 08, broke my wrist. Had kind of a pretty bad outdoor season. Had a good Supercross season. I think I was like top 15 in Supercross as a privateer. Then I think 09, Konski kind of dropped me a little bit. He helped me out with parts, but bikes I got through the local Honda shop in Denny. And so I had kept a couple of my bikes from the pre-season, bought them from Honda. Had a couple of bikes I got like kind of just like a dealer thing where you'd have them for X amount of months and then you had to give them back, and kind of got some support there from local Honda shop. And then, that was pretty much 09, kind of ran just Supercross then, did the halftime shows, got on Crusty Demons, which was really cool, got to tour New Zealand, which was awesome. Then Red Bull approached me and said, "What do you want to do? You want to be a freestyler or a racer?" And I said, "Well, I want to be a racer. I'm still, like, if I got the right opportunity, I could still be a top 5 Supercross rider or easy top 10 Supercross rider. Like, I could get somewhere with racing." But then I was doing halftime shows to pay for my racing, and they basically said, like, pick one or peace out. And so I was like, well, I ain't picking one because I want to do both. And so they left me hanging after that. They gave a ride to Ty. They got a deal with Ty on his Red Bull deal, and then I was back to the chopping board. And super lucky though, because 2010 came around, and a guy called Dove Ribnick, he was working with Travis Pastrana. I remember I was in wake ski and surf in Denny at Luke Moody's shop, and he was one of my first kind of sponsors back in the day. Husk actually was the first one in Kerrang, the local surf shop, and then when I moved to Denny. Then Luke Moody from Wake Ski and Surf was like my sponsor, and he got me my first deal with Electric Visual, which was like a cool opportunity, being able to go to school with a new hat and a new pair of sunnies every week, and just getting sponsorships through local surf shop. And it's cool to see, like, that I was in the shop one day and Nick from Nitro Circus called me and he's like, "Hey, you want to come on tour with us, right?" And like a lot of connections, but obviously riding Crusty Demons in '09 in New Zealand. Cam Sinclair and Blake Williams were like brothers to me. They helped me get my foot in the door with a lot of opportunities with shows, Supercross. It's like doing the halftime shows at Supercross. They were like, they vouched for me, saying, like, he can do it, right? He's good. And then getting into Crusty Demons, doing '08, I did a show in Wagga and a show in Shepparton, and that kind of led into '09 being like one of the amateurs with Jackson Strong, and being on tour with that in New Zealand, trying to do the body varial and broke my wrist in the foam pit at home, and then kind of missed the Oz tour that year. But then it was really cool because then like Cam and then vouched for me with Nitro Circus, got my foot in the door with Nitro Circus. Then that year it was kind of like, peace out racing. Like, I'm going to do Nitro Circus. Like, I'm going to go ride for Travis Pastrana. Like, this is sick. Like, this is like the best opportunity, the best phone call you could ever have, right? Being at like being in the surf shop, a guy that really helped me through my younger days racing and supported me, helped me get sponsors through the shop, and then being there and getting a phone call and being like, dude, I'm going on Nitro Circus. And so got the invite to Nitro Circus. 2010, flew up to Queensland. I was working on the 75-foot backflip. So the Evanses, they're like Jaden Evans, they're out in Kyabram. So they were, Evo was like supporting me, built ramps for me. My parents moved there for a little bit, and Evo built ramps for me, like 75-foot comp ramps, like helped me with my freestyle career. Like, Evo's a legend. Like, for somebody just, and Brad Kennedy, the Kennedys, like they had a place. They let me set up a ramp there. I had a Rebel ramp back then as well. So I had two places I could go to and practice. And my parents were just renting a place there. So it was kind of good. I could go and spend time at those places and have people like Jaden would stay home from school and watch me ride. And it was sweet because I did the backflip out there.
Is that where you did the first one?
Done. What's that?
Is that where you did the first one? Was it?
Yeah. So, Daniel Salters actually was out at one of their mates' properties to a sand pile. I got the first super kicker one. So I was flipping in the foam pit, but I could never commit to doing 75 feet. I just had a real gnarly back then. I was just young and just kind of struggled with the backflip, and I could do it on pit bikes and BMX bikes at the skate park, but and then I did it onto a sand pile, and then I did it on at Evans's. I did it on off this comp ramp, chalked up at 50 feet, and just could never get my head around doing it off 75, even though it was like 25 feet further. But I just had a real bad struggle with the flip. Like, I really struggled with the backflip, and I've struggled throughout my career with the backflip. It's a pretty gnarly thing to do, and went up to Queensland, and Nitro was like, "Hey, like, if you flip, like, we're going to send you out to this guy's place. If you get the backflip done, like, it's all good. We just need you to flip for the tour." And so I was up there. Travis was there doing stuff, tandem backflips with people in the foam pit. And I was getting cranked on whips and doing stuff, and I was flipping in the foam pit. And come crunch time, I just couldn't commit. Like, I just didn't do 75-foot flip. And I had it perfect in the foam pit. I've been doing it for 2 years, since '07. In the foam pit, like, just so perfect. And actually 3 years, and I couldn't do it. Just couldn't get my head around it, right? And if you put a sand pile there or a 55-foot chalked up ramp, I'd do it, right? But if you put it to 75, for some reason, going from first gear to second gear, just struggled and couldn't get her head around it. Travis was there watching me do whips and turndowns. Mike Pora, the owner, was like, "You're not doing the first stop. Like, you're not on tour with us." And so I sat there and watched the very first Nitro Circus at the Gold Coast. I was at Brisbane Entertainment and watched the first show from the sidelines, got told to leave, go home, got kicked off Nitro Circus. And this is where it gets really crazy, is one of my best mates, Matty Lewis. I don't know if you've ever met Matty, but Matty Lewis, good up-and-coming freestyle, one of my best mates. He actually got my spot on Nitro Circus, and that was the Sydney show, so the next stop. So the first night, back then we were doing 3 nights in a row, right? So I missed the first 3 indoor ones at Brisbane, went to Sydney. Matty Lewis took my spot, hit the ramp in first gear on 250F, under-rotated a flip or whatever, took out a bunch of riders on the landing.
Ooh.
He got sent home, and then Joel Brown took his spot on the second night. Joel Brown crashed. He was riding my bike. Joel crashed. They called me that night and said, "Jarryd, if you can be in Sydney on Sunday morning, we'll put you back on tour." Dad and I were back in Kyabram area or whatever at that time, or we might have even been in Yarrawonga. We might have just moved to Yarrawonga, and got in the van, pinned it to Sydney, got on for the last show in Sydney as an upright rider, and Trav was like, "Put him on for whips. Like, his turndowns and his whips are sick. Like, put him on." And I'm lucky Trav did that, because then we went to Melbourne for the first stop, and a guy coming home from China X Games, because back then they had like a China X Games, and it was like more of a demo, but it was an X Games event.
Mm.
And the guy came through Melbourne on the way back to the US, and was like, Trav was like, "Watch this guy for X Games. Like, you need to put him on." And actually, we were in Yarrawonga, because I remember my phone call. We were in Yarrawonga. Dad was managing a dairy farm there for this Chinese company, and we went. I was on tour finished. I did the whole rest of the tour in 2010, and then Dad got a phone. I got a phone call, and it was like, Travis was like, "Hey, keep an eye on your emails or your phone. In the next couple of weeks, something really cool is going to happen." And just kept an eye on it. And finally, I think I got a phone call. It was like, "Yo, you're on X Games. You're invited to X Games," and that was July. The first X Games was my birthday. My 19th birthday. I won a silver medal at X Games Best Whip, and that was kind of like crazy, because like I went from being on Nitro, getting kicked off Nitro, my best friend taking my spot, another rider going down, getting back on tour, and then getting invited to X Games. Like, my whole entire career in 4 months went from like being on the coolest thing ever to being sent home to being put back on to then going to X Games.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't really know that, but like, it's like the gnarliest for me.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense and doesn't add up, and
How
I
different
don't
it is.
understand how it worked out. I don't understand how I got to, like, I know how I got to America, but I just don't know how it played out that way to where I am now
Yeah.
in America, living the dream. And for those reasons, right? Like, if Matty never crashed and Joel never crashed, I would have never been in the United States. I would never have got my first silver. Like, I probably would have still been trying to chase racing. I didn't even know. At that point, I probably would have quit. Probably would have quit. I would have been doing freestyle shows at home, trying to just to go down that path, maybe, because my racing had already kind of stopped at that time. So crazy, gnarly.
Isn't it funny? They always say, like, the lowest moment is the part before the biggest high. Like, you always kind of hit rock bottom, and then it goes up from there. And it's like, again, it's like another story. Like, you got kicked off the Nitro Circus. You haven't got the factory ride. You're thinking, fuck, it's like, at that point, you almost say, right, that's rock bottom.
100%.
Someone trying to make it.
I went up so far in racing and then got nothing. Got the best of championship I could ever ask for as a junior, and then got nothing. And then from nothing, got on Nitro and stuff, or Krusty Demons, which was massive highlight, to then back to nothing, to then back on tour, to then going to America. Like it was just like a roller coaster for a while. Like it crazy. Like never thought that would pan out that way. To this day, have no idea how it panned out. Really, to the fact of just walking out to my backyard and seeing everything I have, a family, a kid, like all the toys I could ever ask for, like collections. Like my office is just full of die-cast machines from Caterpillar, like working with Monster, being a factory Yamaha rider for the last 9 years, being the only factory Yamaha rider for freestyle motocross. Like a lot of people don't know, but I'm literally Tomac's teammate. For the last 9 years, I've been a factory Yamaha rider. You know, there's guys on here that are ride for Yamaha, Twitch, and them just got a deal, but they're not factory Yamaha like I am.
Sure.
Like it's just crazy. Working with Caterpillar, like my childhood dream sponsor, Monster Energy, the companies that I've worked with throughout my career are childhood sponsors. You know, even just working with Fly Racing, like just all these rental handlebars, some of the most iconic brands in racing or in the motorcycle world, I get to represent on a daily basis and ride a dirt bike for is like insane. Now, like when I go home, Yamaha Australia, like not that they have to help me, but like if Yamaha US says, "Hey, can you help Jarryd when he comes home?" They help me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy. Like my parents owned a Yamaha dealership, and I could never get on a factory amateur team there and get the support I really needed or wanted when I was racing. To then now riding for factory Yamaha for 9 years and going home and being like, "Hey, Jarryd, we can help you with a bike for the few months that you're here," and even just like the Whitten brothers, man. Like, you know, like I get a bike from Yamaha to ride for a couple of months, and then I drop it back off or whatever. And then, you know, sometimes like I need a track bike, and the Whitten brothers like, "Oh, here's a used 450 or here's a 450. Just jump on this and like go down to Chuka Yamaha and grab a bike off them and like and be able to have a bike to go ride tracks as well as ride my freestyle bike at the shows. Like just to be able to do that and have the connections now when I go home sick. And honestly having guys like the Whitten brothers, like I know you work with them and they've done a lot. I think they've done a lot for you. I've seen a lot of cool people, you know, help out like Dylan Long and stuff like that. Just like really cool to see a good Yamaha shop and really good family and good people in a position now having a local dealership in our area, being able to like give back to the community. And like, you know, they've asked me to come back and do some racing just to go back and race, you know, just to go do like, you know, Supercross or something back home just to be a part of it again. And one day maybe I'll take that up on them. But like, yeah, just seeing guys like that and just, honestly being able to go home and just work with companies I dreamed of working with now is a possibility, right? Like I can go home and have support at home now because I'm over here in the United States, which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's epic, mate. Like, to see you from a kid and then knowing how hard it got and it almost didn't happen. And now it's all happened and you're still the exact same person as a kid. You just held up the die-cast cat toy. I swear to God, you had that exact same one when you were a kid. Like,
dude, all my machines from my childhood are all here. Like all my like all my bikes and stuff from when I was a kid. Like I can give you a little show around, but
go for it. Yeah, it's just awesome to see. Like it's from
these
the high
are like
to the low
besides
to
the excavator, these are all from home from when I was a kid.
Yeah,
these are all from when I was at home when I was a kid. And these aren't all of them. I've got boxes full of them. This one wasn't, but all my dirt bikes. And that's not all of them, right? These are all just the cool ones from the shop days. But like, I've got my first X Games bike here, so I've got to keep that. So yeah, but just like die cards, it's just like, you know, working with Caterpillar and stuff, getting to just get cool stuff, right? Like,
yeah, it's epic, mate. Like, I guess your passion and desire for it shines through. Just obviously with those little things there, you're sentimental about it, but probably more so in that when you got in that hard time there, like didn't get the rides, got dropped off Nitro, Most people, if they probably didn't love it as much as you did, would have just maybe wiped their hands or been bitter or said it's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't
You
get me wrong.
obviously,
I've been bitter. I've definitely been bitter, but then I've also, like I'd say, like I probably got a little bitter. The comp skip maybe didn't help me more in some really important years.
yeah,
But then I'm like, I'm so proud of what he did for me. Especially, I think too, like I talk with my wife about this a lot. Like I think like growing up, like being in my younger days, finding more reasons to be sour at certain things or take things the wrong way. Why aren't I at these events?
yeah,
And then taking a step back and being like, hang on a sec, you're doing other events, like going and doing stuff with Caterpillar that no one else in the world gets to do, and I get to do that. Or just, and then watching not getting to go to certain free ride events and things like that, or just growing up around 25. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but like I feel like 25 is like a really cool age to where you kind of go out of that younger mindset and become more of an adult and have a lot more responsibilities and start taking things a little bit, not that you haven't taken seriously, but you've kind of been more of a larrikin or kind of a smart ass or just kind of just going with whatever works to get you there. Then you almost get to 25 and you really have to start articulating and being smarter. And I've always been really like, one thing for me is like people ask, oh, and how do you have those deals or whatever you do? And I'm like, I freaking talk to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a janitor or the CEO of a company. Like you just have to treat everyone, unless somebody treats you bad, treat everyone the same, treat everyone equally. Doesn't matter where you're from, what country you're from, what race you are, whatever you are, just treat everyone the exact same and go out of your way to meet people and talk to people. And you never know where it'll end up, right? Like you just have no idea. Like I would go out to the desert with some guy, close family friend of my ex's, and he worked for Yamaha, and I went and raced the pro national at Washougal, took my freestyle money, which was the coolest thing to ever do. Was like, I know I did it in Australia to keep my racing going, but to take away 4 years from 2010 to 2014 to just go away from racing. I did a couple of local races in like hot summer nights in SoCal, just some cool fun events to where you put in like your pro purse payback and you go, and I actually won a few of them. So I got my money back and got other riders' money, which was cool. But like to go and have Grant Langston sign off for me for a pro national, to go and race a pro national at Washougal, ran 23rd on a stock bike at Washougal against the fastest racers like Dean Wilson, all these top riders. And I ran 23rd in one of the races, qualified for a pro national here, all off of my freestyle money, fully 100% funded. The bike funded, bought with freestyle money. Everything I did was freestyle money. Qualified for 2 pro nationals that year. I think like doing a lot of that stuff, and then doing that, like earning the respect of a lot of freestyle riders, because they're just like, who's this kid from Australia? Whatever. Yeah. Like, cool, you can whip a dirt bike or you can do some tricks and that, but it's like, hang on, man. No, I don't. Like, I'll go and I'll qualify for a pro national. I'll show you how fast I am on a dirt bike, not just what I can do as a whip or what I can do as a trick. Like, I don't see any of yous. Like, I don't even see anyone since Travis Pastrana doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I was one of the, since Travis, there's been a couple of people since me that have done it, the race from Europe and stuff, but like, not many people from the freestyle world qualified for a pro national since Travis. So, people got into freestyle after they tried to qualify, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, I think, like having people say, hey, Yamaha, like the head guy, Keith McCarty, hey, watch this guy. He's a freestyler out there. And like he just qualified for pro racing, and then going to a step-up qualifier and having Keith McCarty turn up and say, hey, man, if you get in step up at X Games, qualify tonight for step up at X Games, I'll give you some money and let's talk. And then I crashed out and didn't get into X Games step up the first year I tried. And then him saying like, hey, mate, give me a call on Monday. I want to talk to you. And that's 9 years later I've been with Factory Yamaha. Like, things like that, just meeting people, just opportunities, meeting the parts counter guy at Langston Motorsports, becoming good friends with him, And then he got to a job where he worked for a company for MX, and he was like, hey, if I ever get to a point where I see your potential, Jarryd, I see what you're doing, and like, you know, you're a good role model, you're doing good things, you've got accomplishments. And if I ever get to a position with this company, I'm going to give you a deal. I'm going to get you a deal. I'm going to work with somebody. I'm going to do something to get you a deal. And as growing up, that was a childhood. You know, I raced for gas imports. I drew that in my school books. And to be able to ride for Factory Yamaha and Thor back then in the early days was like the most insane companies, you know, to ride for. And then getting to ride for those. And obviously I've taken different paths. Like I ride for Fly Racing now, and you know, just like different companies, like, you know, rode for Alpine Star, now I rode for Just One, and I'm working with different companies and things like that. But like, just to work with some of the most iconic brands and have some of the best sponsorships, and just from networking and meeting people, and not just being rude, right? Like, you know, Chad Reed rubbed off on me really wrong when I first came to America, and at home growing up racing, after I finally got to meet him, he rubbed off really wrong, and acted like he didn't know who I was when he gave me my one of my second championship trophies in Canberra and stuff like that. Mutual friends, Ando, Cade Mosick, it was someone I looked up to, and then seeing him like kind of rub me the wrong way, coming and seeing him at X Games, and he just acted like he didn't know who I was. And it's like, man, you're at X Games and like you're in Best Whip. Like, there's no way you don't know who I am, right? Like, you met me, you know. And then it's crazy. Like the other week, I was at Supercross in Phoenix, and he walked up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, no way. Like, it's cool. Like, you know, I have a lot more respect for him now. Like, I did talk shit on him for a little while, but like, it's really cool to see that come around, and now he recognizes who I am. But then I had, you know, Ricky Carmichael in Italy walk up to me and be like, "Dude, I've been following you for ages, blah, blah." I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, you followed? Like, and I went and said, "Well, you followed me. I didn't even notice you followed me. Like, what the heck?" Like, just have somebody like that who's like an idol, like guy. And I looked up to Chad Reed, being an Aussie and big fan, and then me, you know, like not to say I didn't support Carmichael, but I was like, I hope the Aussie beats him, you know. Yeah. And then seeing that, like, was just like, yeah, Carmichael giving me the world of the day. Like, it's just like all the time in the world, just throwing down with me all weekend while we were in Italy. And yeah, just some of the coolest opportunities, just meeting people, right? Like, just going back to that, just for me in my career, honestly, like, I've had the best opportunities, got to meet the best people, like representing Caterpillar, just by meeting the right people at the right time and going out and just being myself, right? Not trying to be something that I'm not, which a lot of riders in this sport, I feel like, try and do. I just try and be, you know, try and be as humble as I can, try and give people the time of the day and meet as many people as I can and talk to people, sign things, just invite them, just be part of it, right? Like, just, you know, now having a backyard, being able to help the next generation of riders as best I can. Obviously, I've worked really hard to have a backyard compound, and I don't want to see somebody take it away from me, because a lot of people over here are so happy. But it's like, you know, I've got to protect myself, but also really want to help, you know, like the next generation. I've had Patrick Evans out here this morning, just before I jumped on the call with you, and he's jumping in the foam pit, riding that, and just, you know, trying to learn something, not something new that hasn't been done, but just helping him try and execute a trick that he wants to do now that he's kind of dabbing in the freestyle world, and like pulling him out of the pit with the excavator, and just having a place now where, you know, when I first came to America, some of the dudes treated me like complete shit. You know, didn't let me ride their backyards, didn't want me to ride with them and that. And I like struggled really hard fitting in over here. And now having a backyard and not trying to be like those people, like, I just want to help people and give them a place to ride and like help the next generation, which I feel is so awesome, right? Like, being able to do that now and be in a position where I can do that for people, right? Like, help people out, which is sick. So yeah, kind of rambling on there, but yeah,
no, you're good, mate. It's epic. You can kind of, like, you've summarized it all, but you've basically done a full circuit and come around, and now you're the guy helping others when at one point you were there trying to look for the help from people.
For sure.
And your attitude's spot on. It's spot on, mate. I think a lot of people will take a lot from that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's it. Like
curious-
I feel like I've had a lot of guys reach out to me for podcasts. There's a local guy, I think he must be from Crane. I've got to jump on a podcast with him here soon. And I've had Gypsy Tales want to do a podcast with me here and there, but and I've known Jace for a long time and that, and we just haven't been able to link up. Perfect time. I don't know. We've got to figure that one out. But super stoked that you wanted, like, you got to a position, right? I'm super stoked that you've started doing this, right? Because it's really cool. Like, I've known you for forever. You're one of the longest people I've known in my life, really. Like, if I was gonna say, it'd be you, Brenton Keep, and then Sam McDonald, Lee and Sam McDonald. You're right. They're like, you know, they're you guys are honestly the four people I would say I've known the longest from either farming or this world, right? So, it's really cool to be able to have you get to a point in your career where you picked up the mic and you want to start interviewing people. And I think, like, I don't know, maybe from like stems back from giving Rhino shit about knee braces and shit like that. And people just like, who the heck is this kid? And a lot of people don't know your racing career, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand where you've come from. I've watched your whole racing career through amateurs, racing against my brother, to becoming a professional rider, representing big companies, big brands, and then, you know, talking shit to one of the biggest names in motocross, to then skimming across the Murray River on a dirt bike, to flying planes, and then just getting into this whole podcasting and talking to some people that have been a massive influence or helped me, right? Like, I don't know, you spoke to Greg Moss. I don't know if he had anything really to say, but I can talk on that too. Like, he's one of the best coaches in the world, in my opinion. I've had a lot of good people coach me throughout my career. Parents spent a lot of time and a lot of money on people. Wixie, I don't know if you know Wixie. From down in Geelong, we used to go to Swan Hill. I don't know if you remember. Oh man, mental blanking right now.
I've got to say, your memory is incredible up until now. The numbers and dates you can recite.
And Andrew.
Yeah. Daniel James.
Road. Took me a crap. Why am I mental blanking right now? I feel like a squid. Feels so bad.
We'll edit it out.
Dude, yeah, no. But Macca, like, helped me a little bit. Turning pro, getting a race against him, trying to take me out at Seymour after I got off his team.
Macca.
Mac is a dog, mate. He's dirty as fuck. Yeah, but oh well. Yeah, that's what it is. He just tried to. He's like, when you turn pro, I'm going to give you a rub of something that you're going to have to take. And but you know, just Mossy, mate. Mossy, like, having I don't know. Did you ever work with Mossy?
Oh, heaps.
For coaching? Yeah. So, like, just some of the techniques, man. Like, how to weight your bike approaching corner. Which is really cool. What's so cool is, like, being a freestyler. And I don't know about you, but Mossy always liked to have you run your levers or your levers, however you want to put it, kind of flat or kind of in the higher position. I don't know if he was like that with you, but, like, something for me with freestyle, I run my levers really high, and it's really helpful for, like, some of the big, like, ruler kiss at F tricks. And, like, it's funny seeing somebody like, I don't know, like, when I go and ride a motocross track and I need to stretch a jump, right? I need to, like, really stretch out on a jump and get more distance out of a jump. Like, there's, like, techniques like that. I'm like, not even like from Mossy, but, like, stuff from being able to do a ruler where I'm like, oh, if I, like, lean forward so much and I get my wrists rolled forward enough, I can actually lever my bike further forward off of my clutch levers. And, like, this was after racing, but, like, things I wish I had, like, coming out of a corner and, like, clicking up the gear and holding up the gear shifter, because we do that for certain tricks, holding up the gear shifter to let your arms relax so you're not so stressed out getting arm pump and really pulling leverage through your gear shifter. Just things from freestyle world that kind of go back to like the racing world, and like things that now when I go out to a track, I'll do that. And it's like things from Mossy, like just bike setup, weighting the bike, being like having your bike over the edge of the seat, just like a lot of little techniques are like sick. Like it was funny going into the freestyle world, then Mossy being like, dude, you don't need to jump through the section, stay low on supercross, and like trying to mix the both, because at freestyle you want the best pop, the most pop you get, and then him going like low, long and low, like, you know, stay low, and like just having some really good mentors like him, and then seeing him on your podcast, it's like, oh, sick. Like that's so rad that you have him on your podcast, because a lot of people don't understand the Moss brothers and where they came from and that, and then like kind of who Mossy is and how many riders he's worked with, and like he was one of my big coaches growing up. So
Yeah, for sure, mate. Yeah, you're spot on it. And I appreciate the kind words. And that's the whole reason I do this basically is like you and I know how awesome Greg is. We're around him,
yeah,
see him, talk to him, know his knowledge, but he's not an internet guy. So now you can do a talk of him and get it out there. You're the same. Like we spent a lot of time together as kids in the sandpit. Who I see now in you is exactly who you were 25 years ago. So it's cool to jump on and do that as well. The same with the Wittens, just great guys behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Yeah, love doing that. And yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on with it all, mate. It's perfect. So
I don't know if you have any more questions, go ahead. Like I got more time. So yeah, if you have anything else, like pick my brain on whatever you want, really. Like the more you have or whatever you want to work with, dude, it's friggin', I'm just pumped to be able to sit down and talk to you about it, right? Like stoked that we get to dive into some cool stuff. And I don't know, just knowing you so long, it's just easier to have a good convo, right? It's just more like us catching up, because we really haven't seen each other that much. So
I just want to touch on the mindset of yours. You're at the top of racing, and then you lost a few rides, didn't get the support you wanted, and you can tell you're a little bit bitter about that. And then now in freestyle, you basically got everything you could have imagined. You got Monster, Cat, you've got all these great relationships that span over a very long time, like a very healthy relationship with sponsors. Has anything changed, or did you learn anything when you didn't get that support because I would say now, like just listen to you talk, like the way you approach people, your mindset on it, your attitude towards people and giving them the time of day and all that sort of stuff. Was that I know it was the same when you were a kid back then, but did it change a little bit at the end of the racing period where you started to lose the rides and stuff like that?
Dude, I didn't like. It's funny because I didn't get the things I might have. Like I never like thought I should have been factory. I would have liked to have been factory, right? So like, I think for me, one of the biggest things for me is I took a different path. Not that I necessarily chose to, but I took a different path. And because I took a different path that worked out, and I didn't know it was going to work out, now it's worked out. I'm living the dream that I wanted to live or thought about living. I feel like, sorry about my son in the background. I feel like he's a couple of hours over his nap time here, so I got to get him down in a sec. But I guess being like, for me, watching the guys, like I'm really proud of Ty Simmons to see what he's achieved and stuff with bull riding and that now, horse buck riding but it's really crazy to see the guys that got every single thing given to them. Don't get me wrong, they worked for it. They were great amateurs. They've done really well. They're doing really well now, right? They just moved into different careers, but. For me, like something that I hold on to is like I'm the only one that actually made it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Whether it was racing or freestyle, I'm the only one that's still living a career, making money from riding dirt bikes. And everyone's had little things, right? There's some guys have had accidents that have taken them out of the sport in certain ways. Some guys have quit. Some guys have gone to jail. Some guys have, you know what I mean? Some guys have mixed up with the wrong poison. Some guys are doing certain things. Some guys, some guys are still racing. Some guys are coaching. Some guys are just having fun riding and didn't keep going with it. So like, not saying like, not trying to belittle anyone or try and be anything like that. But out of my group, I'm still doing it. I've got all the best sponsors I could ever ask for. I wouldn't want it to change. I've got the best things, right? Yeah, but just to see the guys that everyone else put their money on that hasn't made it, and I didn't get that, and I've built my own way and my own connections and my own things, and now I get to do what I want. I get to wake up and do what I want every day if I want, and ride my dirt bike and put a smile on people's faces and entertain people, and get to ride, just have fun. Like, yes, like racing was really cool. Not being lazy. Don't get me wrong. Going like training before X Games and things like that, and like getting prepared for a pro national when I race, and that was kind of fun. But like, I don't miss working out at the gym. Like, I don't miss riding my road cycle everywhere and almost getting hit by cars or water bottles thrown at me. Like, I don't miss any of that from the racing world. I don't miss getting my ass beat on the track and being disappointed because something didn't go my way. Don't get me wrong. When I lose an event, I think like I've been the best at best whip, and now I've got these young dudes that are starting to take me off the podium and, you know, putting me back in positions. And I'm going to still try and go out. I went out as, you know, undefeated 4 times in a row for step up. So I still, you know, if they bring step up back to X Games, I want to keep going with that and see if I can be undefeated. And yeah, just in a good position and happy with where I'm at, and thankful for what I've done in my career and the path and the connections and the people that I've met, and yeah, just kind of, yeah, I'm stoked, dude. Like, it's like I'm not. I think too, getting older, I haven't held as much grudge, right? If you had asked me this a while back, I probably would have held more grudges about certain companies or certain people and certain things, but now that I'm more stable and know where I'm at in my life and what I have, and older, and just having a different mindset, and honestly, winning and losing, right? The hardest thing in your career is losing. You can win as much as you want and be on the top of the world, but when you start losing things and losing events or losing sponsors and certain things, that's when your mental state really comes into play. Like, winning a race and your mental state has to be on top, but like losing, it's way gnarlier, especially when you were the best. So I think like taking it, learning just a lot more about myself, where I'm at, learning to lose. Not to say that I like losing, but learning to lose. And then maybe make better choices in life, or take different risks, and then maybe take things out of the past that you know may have affected you in the past mentally, but just take things, and like something like, you know, maybe Konski didn't give me a factory ride, but he did help me. And so looking back at that and being like, you know, he actually did help me. Yes, he didn't help me on a factory team, but he helped me. And so like, I'm more appreciative of him now than I was maybe a few years back or whatnot. You know what I mean? I think things like that, just getting more mature and having a partner that maybe kind of corrects me a little bit more with things as well, right? Having a missus that like not pulls you into line, because she's always let me be me, but like having someone to bounce things off and being like, maybe don't do that, Jarryd. Like, it could come back to haunt you. Or maybe you shouldn't have said that, or maybe you overstepped the line there. Like, maybe don't do that again. Just do whatever you want, but like, just saying,
maybe
you know,
repercussions.
Yeah. Like, I have a filmer here, Eric, PhD. He works with me. He lives at my place and has his own little place over there. And having someone around like that, just having a good friend that like I bounce things off, and just like, is that a good idea? Should I post this? Should I just keep it in? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, you know, just like having people to bounce it off, right? And just making relationships and being able to do that and feel comfortable with certain people and letting them in your life, I think. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm just reading between the lines, but it seems like there's been a bit of a shift in maturity maybe in the past couple of years.
100%.
What's that?
100%.
What's brought on that? Has it been a father? Was it a conscious decision? Is it just time? What made you?
Yeah, being a father, just, yeah, exactly. Just getting older.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think just being dad, being a father, being a husband, and just being a homeowner. Just lots of different things. Trying to keep relationships. COVID, I think really pushed me to. COVID has probably pushed me to the limits that people don't want to go to, and mentally, physically, yeah, dude. COVID, I think honestly, I'll say COVID has
Okay.
really opened my eyes up to the world, what we're living in, how fake it is, just all the bullshit that comes along with that.
Hmm.
Uh, Not being able to see my family for 4 years now. Um, yeah, just a lot of things going on with my visa stuff and just being just just waiting a lot of stuff out, dealing with lawyers and just stuff that I hope that no one else goes through. I'll tell you that. I'll just put
Okay.
it that way without going too far because I can't really say too much. But
Yeah.
yeah, what I will say, what COVID has put me through, and you know who I am, and it's like when there's something that you hold dearest to you, when it's your own personal health and things like that, and you don't want to take the risk that people want to put the risk on you, is absolutely mind blowing. Being held at your will and not being stripped being stripped financially and travel and a lot of things.
Mm.
In the short form, just to hope no one goes through what I've been going through. And I'm don't get me wrong, I live a great life. I'm
Yeah.
super stoked. I live in a great place, financially good, wife, kid, loving life, happy. But there's certain things that people like to play games with, and the games that they're playing aren't a place that you want to. You don't want to down. You just don't mentally. You do
Yeah.
not want to go down. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter your situation. There's still right and right and
yeah,
wrong and wrong. So it's
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Being vilified for your life is not a fun thing. Yeah.
We won't go
As
there.
you know,
You did.
that I'm very proud that I've been in America and watching what you guys went through at home. No country or citizen of Australia should ever have to go through what you guys have been through down there. And I don't think the rest of the world really has seen the full potential of what you guys went through. They see certain things that the news and stuff wants to see and wants you to see, or if you follow political pages.
Mm.
But what they've done to the Australian public is something that you'd never want to go down. And everyone thinks that it's all good bells and whistles now in the United States, but there's things that really haven't changed here. And trust me, it's not as free as you think. I'll tell you that. Let's just keep it that way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I'll
yeah,
speak on Australia. Like it was
yeah,
when you think back now to what it was and what they got away with. It's like how the fuck like we weren't allowed to leave house. Like you weren't allowed to go to work.
yeah,
We
yeah,
couldn't go over to that side of the river for fucking 3 months because someone had it. It's yeah.
yeah,
It is crazy and it definitely has opened a lot of people's eyes to it all.
yeah. But yeah, that's something I think in my life that yeah, they've just like yeah, they're keeping me quiet. Let's put it that
Yeah, right.
way.
Oh, you
Yeah,
tread carefully
but
there. I'm impressed.
yeah,
I think people
yeah,
understand.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, like it's just we're just in a crazy world. But yeah,
Yeah.
that I think that things that's that to answer your question. That's honestly all
Okay.
those other things, right? And then COVID just put a real spin on my world, and so I think that's made me mature. And honestly, like it, certain things happen in your life probably keep you more humbled and make you think different ways and articulate different ways, and it's a good thing. I
Hmm.
feel like it's something that there's certain things in people's lives that make things tough, and I think like for me, I've been put here for a reason, and it's a tough reason. It's a tough situation, but when at the end of it, like good things will happen, and like I don't know, I
Yeah, I
believe in
totally
something
agree.
else up there. So yeah,
After enough bad things happen to you and you get pushed with your back against the wall and you realize there was a lesson to it and it turned into a positive in the future, at
yeah,
some point, like I get to the point now where I'm like, you don't seek out bad things, but you understand that
Yeah.
just lied on the other side, and for some reason I
Yeah.
just have to deal with this and figure it out, and there'll
Yeah.
be a reason, and fucking it is what it is.
And
And
if you don't get caught up in the crap and the nonsense and the stuff that brings you down, and you see more positive, do better things, help people, be more outgoing, change certain things that you might not be happy with in your life, like just make some changes and stuff, and like things are better. Like things will happen. Like you better things will come. You know what I mean? Like you just got to make changes or toughen up. Like we're in a weird society where and we're not all the strongest, most manly man ever, right? We all get down in the dumps and stuff. I think just like navigating, growing up, being more mature, and taking a lot more responsibility, and yeah, just not giving up, right? Like just not giving up, change your ways, and that can relate to a lot of people, right? You can get caught up in things in certain places and certain times of your life, and you just got to make good choices and try and change your ways, I think, right?
awesome, mate.
So
Very well
yeah,
spoken.
yeah,
We'll finish up
so
with a few other questions. Motorbike
yeah,
related.
man.
One-handed whips. How do you do it?
Uh, yeah, just one day just started jumping the ramp, taking off one hand, like just being a freestyle, just always playing with that. And then, dude, I don't know, just like at the time, like we could you at X Games best trick or best whip, sorry, you could do more variations and tricks, right? I seen Stuart and that doing some tricks like knack-knacks and stuff, and I was like, well, maybe we'll get away with stuff. So I was starting to think of things that had never been really done, and one hand to no hand whips were kind of like a thing that hadn't been done. So I was just like, I'm gonna come up with some stuff, and like for me, riding freestyle, I try and be a little. Maybe I don't do the biggest flip tricks in the world, even though I flip and I do flip tricks. I want to just be really. I want to stand out when I ride, and like I can go do a big freestyle show, and I know people come back to me being like, "Dude, like those guys did big flip tricks and stuff, but you're way better." And I'm like try and stay humble. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Like, I really appreciate it. Like the way you move around, the stuff you do on a bike and that. No one does stuff like that. And I'm like, that's what I've really tried to do with my freestyle, and the one-handed whip to no-hand whip and things like one-hand takeoff whip. Like, that's just something like I've really pride myself on trying to be a bit more creative like that. And yeah, just don't know how it works. Just one of those things that you start taking off doing a whip and getting the bar to lock, and there's just working with the gyro and awareness, and yeah, it just works out. Kind of it's funny because to me it's like one of the easiest things I can do on a motorcycle now.
Yeah, right. So I use the
There's
one-hand
nothing.
takeoff whip as an example at my
Yeah,
coaching schools that you ride a motorbike with your legs. Like you got to hang on from the bottom up, and that's where
yeah,
you have all your power from.
yeah. I mean, I hold onto my shifter. I hold my shifter up. That's like a trick that I like. I used to keep it like under wraps, but it's not really something under wraps. Like it's whatever. But holding up your gear shifter when you click second gear really helps you keep on the bike. That's why I don't get away from the bike. So you're using 3 points of contact. You've got your hand on the throttle, and you've got your strength, and then you've got you're gripping with your legs, but you're also hooked under the shifter. So it's a lot easier to manipulate the bike with doing that. Yeah.
So have you ever worried about hitting your foot peg on the up ramp? Throwing a whip?
Nah, never have.
You
Never
don't?
been able to. On dirt, ruts and stuff, yeah. Racing, but not
Not on
on
the
a
ramp?
ramp. Nah.
Fuck, yeah, you
Nah.
get pretty
Because
close.
you slide before you get to that degree.
Gotcha. Have you
You
ever
don't really
slid?
have huh?
Have you ever slid?
On the ramp? Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You slide, but like it's like more of a controlled slide. It's like more of a too big of a carve.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but no, you can control as long as like yeah, it's like more of a controlled slide. But if you're really sliding on that degree and your foot peg scrapes, you're probably not doing too well.
But not
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Like the moon booter, I can get my back wheel, and I don't mean to, but my back wheel will skip off the side of the ramp a little bit earlier than the top when
Gotcha.
I crank off that thing. Or when you're in a train and you're following dudes, and then the ramp's wobbling, and then it goes like it
Oh, really?
slides a little bit different. But yeah, you don't want your foot peg to crab. Yeah.
Do you think freestyle's hit its peak? Is there another area that hasn't been explored or?
People always say that, right? You know, a few things have happened in our sport lately that like seem inevitable, but it's not, because it's wonder how things like that don't happen more often. And like the tricks are on another level. Yeah, we've got safer landings, but even watching a good mate we grew up with, like watching Jo, like I don't know, I don't, I don't know. I I love freestyle. I want to see people learn and be creative and stuff like that. But when you see your mates not getting anything out of doing the biggest, gnarliest trick on planet Earth, not getting sponsorships, funding it himself, working 9 to 5, and then going out and getting pesos for doing one of the biggest, gnarliest tricks, going to contests, and I don't know, just seeing certain riders get certain things and other riders not get the things that they should and they deserve. And for me, I've always tried to stay in my own lane. I hang out with the dudes that love to see progression, and I love seeing progression, but we're at a level of freestyle motocross where it's life and death. And the money that they're getting for doing this stuff now, don't get me wrong, people get paid really good. But do you have to get out of your comfort zone? Do you have to get out of your lane to do that stuff? Or do you have to just stand out and pick and choose what you want to do and be smart about it? Like, don't get me wrong, like we are rolling the dice being a freestyle rider, and it's scary, but I think being smart about your financial position and things, and where you're at, people need to really start maybe being a bit smarter. They're not saying that no one's smart, because these riders are very smart, very calculated. They know what they're doing, and they wouldn't do what they're doing if they didn't want to. But for me, risk versus reward right now is not the best. Do I think freestyle has more years of progression? 100%. I think there's more that can be done for sure. But what we're going through right now is very interesting, and it's more so who wants to step up to the plate to do what they've got to do for nothing, or do you take it down a notch, ride shows, make good money, be different, get sponsors. I think all those things need to come into play. What's safe and what can you execute a lot safer? Who are the promoters? Who, when you go to an event, are these people having a go, like having a run with you, like just beating you around the bush? Or are they going to take good care of you, sending you halfway around the world to go to a show, and then the promoter saying, oh, sorry, and then having another rider say, here's some money. I don't want to go naming names and stuff, but like having another rider come out and give you money for doing the gnarliest trick on planet Earth, when the promoter should have pulled out his paycheck. That doesn't fly with me. Seeing one of my good mates stress over certain things and then now lose his life because of that is disgusting. And not because of the place that he was in over here, but seeing him and his mates execute something good at home and something go wrong is one thing, but seeing other things not plan out his way at other events that have nothing to do with where it led to really annoys me. So yes, freestyle has room to improve. Promoters need to improve. Sponsorships need to improve. And we just need to keep on the same path with safety and doing the right things, and then riders being smart about what they do, right? Like, I've had all these opportunities and people ask me, Travis, is like, do a double backflip. And I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. Not doing it. Like, I'll do it when I want to do it at home in my foam pit to my airbag lander, because if I go do it somewhere else, I'm not going to get paid to do it. Like, I know what the best riders in the world were getting paid to do it, now where they're at with it. And yeah, just things like that, right? Like if I ever do something now, it's going to be because I want to do it. And I think riders have to take that on themselves to be like, where are we at? We've got a whole nother breed of freestyle riders too, like free rider type guys, all the YouTube stuff. I watch a lot of dudes that are killing it. Buttery, guys like that weren't ever the best riders in the world, but they are smart with social media and they've got good sponsors. They're making revenue from clothing and merchandise. They're making YouTube money, and they don't have to go out and do big crazy tricks. And they've got really cool companies backing them, and they're just your everyday rider. Like they're just not everyday rider, but they're not freestylers. They're not racers. They're just guys that like to have fun riding their dirt bike, right? I see a lot of my mates at home coaching. Someone I think's really cool is like Jade Oates. Has his own little coaching school thing, travels around Australia coaching people, has companies support him and sponsor him, manufacturers sponsor him and sponsor his program. And to me, that's like, doesn't have to go risk his life racing, wants to help the next generation ride and learn safely and teach them skills, and has companies giving him stuff and sponsoring his program. And he's still riding his dirt bike as well. Like, for me, that's like, there's certain things I think growing up in Australia and seeing people racing and now seeing people just going out to enjoy riding motorcycles and going to ride park and really cool places. Now we've got a lot more, not a lot more, but just we have places where people can go ride like American style tracks now and pay to ride, and maybe not racing at home, being more pushed towards just going and having fun with the boys on the weekend and, having a good time. I don't know if you can relate to that. I haven't been really home much, but I could just see maybe there's a big shift away from racing at home and people just want to go and enjoy riding and spend time with their mates and learning new skills on motorcycles and going out and just enjoying riding.
Sure.
So just all these different new avenues, not new avenues because they've always been there, but I think just more push to different avenues. It's all relevant, right? So, yeah.
You've always been really good at judging risk and reward, which is
Tried.
it's
Definitely tried.
like even if you go back to when you wouldn't backflip back in the day, I guess you thought the risk was a
Yeah.
little too high for what the reward was. And some
Right.
reward got high enough, so you did the flip. You're saying
Yeah.
that now you could go and do the gnarly tricks, but there's no reward for it. I can do the shows, which the risk is pretty low, but I'll get the reward still.
For me, I think lately moving to the Yamaha 450 was like a massive big boost in my career again. Like I just can't get over how sick the bike is. Like I think you've been riding one, like like the new bike is like,
just don't touch it.
You've only got to see like half the people in freestyle now are buying them. Like Twitch and that when they were first getting into it, they were asking me what my thoughts were, and now he's got to deal with them, and it's like now everyone's getting on the Yami 450 in the freestyle world, like a lot of people are. And for me, I was chasing the two-stroke, loved the two-stroke, massive fan base from the two-stroke. I'll always own a two-stroke. I'll always ride a two-stroke for fun. But like some things in my head that were a big change lately were just mental things like jetting the two-stroke, making sure it was running right, having confidence to do freestyle on it. Just flipping it was a real struggle for me, even though there was a point where I was doing flip tricks, learning flip tricks to then like barely doing flips at home and just doing flips at show only and just like mental game to now I'm like back to doing flip tricks again, trying to do rule of flips again, like do things that I thought were just like long gone. Getting back on that new Yamaha and really working on that bike and really just feeling comfortable whipping it, doing everything, free riding track, all the stuff, was a massive boost in my career again. Like it just made me feel young again, which is sick, and being so stoked on a new bike. And not because I ride for Yamaha. Like if Yamaha stopped sponsoring me, I would still ride a Yamaha, like I just love Yamaha. I've always loved Yamahas, and now having a good bike like this really helped my career lately. So just a lot of things like that, right? Just being confident and knowing where you're at in the sport and what you can and can't do. And yeah, that's really a big part of it, being mature, like having more maturity at an older age.
Do you fear getting hurt? Because you've had a pretty injuryless career.
Yeah,
For freestyle.
I broke my back. I broke my back twice. So broke my back in Rigo's foam pit where you learnt to do a backflip. Broke my back at 2015. Then my biggest the back injury definitely not fun. yeah, bad, like crushed spleen, bruised lung, kidney, knocked out, shoulder separation. That was one of my worst crashes. Done my lacerated my liver. Yeah, spleen, crushed my spleen. Yeah, I think I already said that. Bad concussions are probably the worst. One of the worst things. Broken my wrist 3 times. Leg, ankle on a trampoline. Done my ACL, meniscus, foot, rib. What else am I missing? I don't know. Collarbone.
There's a few.
Thing is, right? Like people, like I've had all these injuries. I don't get on social media. I've never really got on social media and complained or like just like I try not to talk about them when I do it, and I try and just quickly get through as quick as I can and get back on the bike. And I've made a lot of decisions where I shouldn't have rode, and I have rode. You know,
Yeah, so
and
if I think like Travis Pastrana, injury,
yeah,
maybe even like a Bilko Williams is often
yeah,
getting surgeries and stuff. Like
yeah,
you can think of Cam Sinclair's big crash on the double flip.
yeah,
Like there's usually
yeah,
some big things that stand out, or just a
yeah,
massive laundry list.
yeah,
I don't know if it's due to your risk and reward calculations that you do, but for the most, like you've
yeah,
obviously had injuries, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, like when I broke my back riding motocross at Parlour, a rock got caught in my rear brake on my 2-stroke, and I went off a 50-foot jump and jumped like 70 feet to scrub it and went straight to my back. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't even that was in 2015. That had nothing to do with freestyle.
Yeah,
You
gotcha.
know? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's like
then I was messing around and did a whip. Tried to do like a zigzag whip, like I was messing around trying to do 2 whips in one jump. Landed with my foot out, blew out my ACL. Didn't crash, but you
gotcha.
know, riding the Supercross track and went long and overjumped like one of the triple step downs or whatever and snapped my wrist. And just on the trampoline in Vegas when I first came to the US and end of 2010 and jumped on a trampoline and with Mike Jordan shoes on at an indoor trampoline park and snapped my ankle. Like,
It nearly had more off the bike than on.
yeah, like it's
Just
like
random things.
bloody collarbone was on a BMX bike. Friggin'
Yeah, right.
my second broken bone was my leg at Corey's place, out at Popsy O'Brien's on the
Yeah,
ski
yeah.
jump. You know, like right when we got the 65, when the 65 first came out.
Yeah. That would have
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
And
So
yeah,
yeah, a bit of everything. Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share, but just always try to lay low and just get through the time and bounce back as quick as I can, right? Like most people take 6 months off to come back from an ACL. I came back in 4. So like I've always just put in the hard yards and try to get back on the bike. Like even going and competing when I blew my ACL a week later, I just went and rode best whip and got a medal at
yeah, right.
Monster Cup with a blown out ACL. Just did it, right? Like
Yeah,
just yeah, just get through it, right? Just get it done, get the job done. But yeah, try and weigh up the risk versus reward, right? Like I wasn't flipping at the time. Travis Pastrana was like, "Hey, come out to Maryland." My first time and my only time that I've been to Travis's house in 15 years was 2011. Buddy Travis got a '06 252 stroke, and I was riding like a '09 at that time. Took my suspension out, didn't fit the 2-stroke older model. Travis like, go out the mulch pile and do a double flip on this thing. And I'm like, no way. There's no way I'm doing a double flip out there for you on that. Like, cool, you'll get a massive video of me eating shit, or I can go ride Nitro Circus and get a paycheck. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I love you,
yeah,
mate. Like, I'm one of your biggest fans. I love you, man. Like, you're a childhood hero, but
yeah,
I'm not going to do a double flip onto a mulch pile when I'm not even doing flips to 75 on the daily basis. Like, at that time, I was just doing the super kick of the sand pile. So I was like, nah, I'm sorry, mate. Like, I love you, man, but I'm not going to do a double flip for your video. Like, I'll do something else, but like, I'll go mess
yeah.
around or something, but like, I'll go ride your track on this shit box, but I'm not going to double flip this clapped out bike, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
especially if my suspension don't fit in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's epic, mate. You
You know?
definitely got a strong will.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
people with
It's,
Travis
dude,
don't
and
miss
people
it,
like,
do
mate, the amount of people that just froth and do everything, and it's just
they? Yeah.
like, I get it. I get it. Like each to their own. Everyone's trying to get their foot in the door. I had my foot in the door with something else, and yeah, just pumped on where I'm at and what I have to do, and just stay in my own lane, dude.
Yeah,
I
epic,
stay in
mate.
my own
Yeah.
lane. Like this sport gets clicky, and it's yeah, just try and stay in my own lane, and I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. Yeah, no,
Oh, it's
no
epic, mate.
complaints, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
what you've
good.
done and how consistently you've done it and how well you're set up still doing it.
Yeah,
It's what everyone dreams of, basically, like having the biggest sponsors, the manufacturer,
yeah,
the consistent income, you got your compound
yeah.
there. Like
I
it's more like the dream
always
scenario.
want something.
What's that?
You go ahead.
I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
it's like the dream scenario if you could sort of
Yeah,
switch a career and in freestyle, which is obviously a fickle industry, you've
yeah,
basically nailed it. Like it's spot on.
yeah. And two, like I see with a lot of knowing a lot of pros and seeing them take different paths after riding and retiring or not having anything to fall back on, right? Like for me, something I would recommend to other riders and other people is like, yes, you can be really good at riding dirt bikes, but be passionate and love something else, right? Like
Hmm.
for me, it's like earth moving, right? Like I love tractors and like my whole life is about tractors. Ever since you've known me, I love tractors.
Yeah.
Like I would rather be on a tractor half the time than a dirt bike. So like be good at something else or find something else you really like and try and be good and try and be an advocate in it or try and be a spokesperson in that world or try and relate to that world or get back to that world, right? Like for me, it's just like being able to work with Caterpillar and stuff. I never thought that would happen. I met the right people and still making the connections and still working. And people always hit me up like, how did you do that? Hey, can you help me get in? And I'm like, no, no. Like, put freaking my heart and soul into this and you know nothing about a piece of equipment. I'm not going to try and give you my connection. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you're not promoting something
you're
you don't
not
care
going to
about.
bark
Yeah.
on my tree. Like, it's not happening. Like, I've worked, especially with something that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
Like, like, so for me, it's like I've always just tried to have knowledge about things that I'm knowledge about. Like, people, ask me, like, I get bagged out all the time, especially on Nitro growing up, like, even being older, but being treated like a young kid and just not being picked on because I don't want to be like, oh, you were picked on as a kid or picked on as a teenager and that. But like people are like, oh, you asked so many questions,
Oh,
and I got the like Mick Questions was my nickname, Mick Questions. But like, don't get me wrong, a lot of my friends on Nitro give me a hard time, and that's more of like a brotherly thing, right? Like I know the difference between like Bilko and Cam giving me a hard time because they're my brothers and
yeah.
they help me. But like to other riders that you just like shut your mouth, mate, before you get punched in, and like it's just funny because like because I don't want to go down like being like that, but like
Yeah.
it's like being Mick Questions. Why do you always ask questions? Man, you ask so many questions, or like acting like I'm out of place and I don't know what I'm doing and that. And it's like funny because asking questions has been the best thing to ever happen in my life.
Oh, mate, I've
Asking
actually got it
people,
written down
going,
here as one of your
yeah,
questions. Like you've had curiosity about anything you're interested in
always.
since day
I've
dot. Always.
always, yeah, always question everything. I've always questioned and asked people for information, and like I always pick people's brains because I want to know something about them that maybe other people don't know, or like who they know, or who like what the connection is, or just I pick people's brains for information because one day like someone's like, oh, do you know about? Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, mate, I'd say
Like,
it's an incredible asset to you, and people will watch this interview, and you'll notice at the start of it because you did it to me. You asked about 20
yeah,
questions straight off the bat, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute,
yeah.
I'm here to talk about you. But when you do that, and you people just inherently we like to talk about ourselves, we're the subject we know the most.
Right. And I
And
didn't
when
want
you
to sit
go
here and
and
talk about myself the whole time. And I know I'm gonna because I'm gonna be talking about myself.
yeah,
So I want to ask you things because I know like I might be able to ask you something people don't know, right? Because of our friendship, right? So like, and knowing you for so long since you're a little kid, growing up, our families and brother, you were best mates with my brother, and like, yeah, just it's like I can things that I pick out, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's how I am, right?
It's a great people skill. Like I can see how it would
Yeah,
work out so well with your sponsors too. Like they probably come in there thinking it's going to be all about you talking about what you want. And you'd probably sit there asking them about tractors and their family
yeah,
and God knows what.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah,
everyone
you
loves
got
to
to.
talk about themselves. So it's like
Yeah,
you instantly get that connection and off you go. Whereas a lot of, well, some people, not a lot of people will just be sort of self-centered and want to talk about themselves and
yeah,
not care about the other person. And yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it's kind of funny. Like to be a nice person, you basically just got to take interest in someone else. And when you do that, they'll in return
Yeah,
take
100%.
interest in you, which I'd
Yeah,
say the king of that, make questions.
I find that funny because like people get so scared to come up to me like at events and stuff, and you can hear them like I'll be walking through the pits at Supercross and they're like, "Oh, there's Jarryd McNeil," and I'm just like, I can hear you, and I'm always just like, dude, like, come say hello to me for God's sakes, like, come say hello to me, like, because like I just one of those things like famous people are just rude to me, like Hollywood movie stars are the pit of the earth, like. Some of them are really good, but some of them are just like, what world are you on? Like,
Yeah.
I've been in some weird situations where I've got to meet some really cool people. Like, man, I've had Kanye West come up to me and want to talk to me and be like the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys. But then I've had Little Wayne's security say, get away from him. Like, you're not walking near him, stay away. Like, get out, move. And I've had Kanye West be like, having his people, his handlers, be like, you can't go over and talk to the stunt riders. And he's like, piss off. I'm going to say good day to these people. Like, I want to talk to them. And he's come over and be like, oh, Australia's my favorite place. Like, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
right.
And like, had some of the coolest interactions with some really cool people. And like,
Where was
I just
that?
never wanted to be that. I just never want to be that rude person, right? Never want to be like, and it really pisses me off when people don't come and say good day to me if they're talking about me because I almost get shy, right? I almost get like, oh crap, like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh what the heck? Like they're talking about me. Just come say hello. Like I'm not going to bite your head off. I'm not going to tell you to leave me alone. I'm not going to be like some of the other people in the industry. Like come and say good day to me. Like people are like, how can I ride your backyard? And obviously it comes down to like their level of riding and stuff like that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
if you see me at the track, don't stand there and point at me and talk about me to your friends. Like, come over and say good day. I've had that many riders come and ride me with me in my backyard of all levels of rider.
Yeah.
Like, I want to teach people how to jump a ramp. If you're a good kid, come from good bringing up and you're good, you like got manners and you come out of your way to speak to me and you want to ask me questions and stuff like that. Like come and say good day and you're more likely to get the opportunity to come and ride with me or pull up to me on the track and I'll go spin some laps with you if I've got some free time. Like, come say good day. Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, Instagram, there's no pictures of you riding on there. Yeah, you just come out to my place. I can't tell where you're at, but like,
Yeah.
sure, come and ride with me. Like, not going to
Yeah, yeah.
happen that way, right? Unless somebody vouches for you and they're like, yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
he's solid, like, blah, blah, he's good. Like, I know him and then he knows you. Yeah, but like, yeah, it's just funny. Like, yeah, I find like a lot of people must have had a bad run in with people and like they find it hard to approach people. And I'm always like trying to get people to come say good day to me. Or guys that'll come up to me like, I'll be pushing my bike through the pits and they're like, oh, where's Jarryd at? And I'm like, you know what? I think I seen him, but I'm pushing his bike over here. But he was just over there. And just like fuck with people because they just like it's like either they know my face or they don't know me at all, and then they like either they're gonna click or they just walk off trying to
Gotcha.
find me.
That's funny.
No, it's funny, but yeah,
Uh,
because not a lot of people we have a helmet on, so a lot of people don't know,
yeah.
who we are in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hang on
Yeah.
a sec here, mate.
Yeah.
I want to get out. Like I hate, when people's stuff when they try and call you, and then I hope they don't call me again and again and again.
Gotcha.
Like I want to answer his phone, but like
We'll wrap up here
not
in a
right.
sec.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
What
that's
else you
awesome,
got?
mate. What's that?
What else you got? What else you got for me?
Oh, I don't know. What are we touching on? We're not getting political.
Nah, I mean, nah.
No.
People know where I stand.
I know you've got
I'm,
opinions.
I'm a country boy.
Actually, one thing I would like to talk of is dickheads on the internet. So when you
Yeah,
posted about, is it Brugger?
yeah, Ruger.
You got
Yeah,
the fake dog
yeah,
made up and put him on your bike.
yeah, yeah,
You pretty much broke the internet there for about, I think you invented the term Karens, maybe, possibly.
yeah.
Like that. That
Yeah,
was
people
wild.
are crazy, man.
Yeah.
Um, just one of those things, right? Like, yeah, just freaking crazy. Don't understand.
So to give context,
In their own world.
Jarryd got a fake version of his dog made up, like a
Yeah,
what do you call it? Like a stuffed version of his pet. The dog jumps up onto the seat, so it looks like it's real, but then the camera changes, and then it's the fake dog on the front. Looks identical, and then you're throwing whips, doing flips, jumping it, and
yeah,
didn't you get was there a pedo got involved or somebody?
yeah. Oh, they try to get better, but I think they're a bit. They have to look into cases. I didn't say it like I don't know if I had a case or not with them or anything, but
Yeah,
people got pulled them in to try and get them to come to me and that. But like that's why I did the next video, the next like the runner-up video, saying like this is my fake one, this is my real one.
yeah.
Because like I like with that video, like we're not stupid, right? I did that with my kid. Like I'm not gonna jump with a dog that almost weighs the same weight as me for a start. Like,
Yeah, you don't want to crash
like
let alone hurt the dog.
no, like yeah, like people are just crazy to think that you would do that. Like, and don't get me wrong, there was a dude that jumped like 80 feet or 100 feet with his dog back in the 80s, and no
Oh,
one
really?
said nothing because social media wasn't a thing. But um, for me, I'm not like, risk versus reward, thinking outside the box. How do we do this? How do we accomplish this?
Yeah.
I hit up this company called Cuddle Clones. They make normally littler dogs and stuff, but replicas. I'm like, can you make me a life-size dog? I gave them dementias, photos, and all that. And they're like, yes, we want to be a part of that. Like, let's break the internet. So we did that, and just did that. And
Was a
it
classic.
went really well, right? Like, it went really awesome. And we did one with my son with a fake doll that I got. I went through like 3 different dolls to get one that was really close on
Oh,
size
really?
and look and stuff. And yeah, so yeah, people are just weird, man. Like people have something to say. Man, people gave me death threats and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, do you not meet people? Do you just speak your mind about everything? Do you really like? Can you really say that to people? Like, what's your mentality? Like, you're a
Yeah.
psycho. Like,
You got
you've got
issues.
no stability.
Yeah.
We
You
could
almost feel
talk for
sorry in a
hours
way.
on people, but yeah, you just feel sorry for them that they, not that they get fooled into thinking it's real, but to just jump to a really rude, mean comment
And think that's a good
and
idea
not just
and trying to
hold
make a
back.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, the more those people talk like that, the more
Exactly.
viral the video goes. So bring
Yeah.
it. Like, let
Now
them
the
talk.
internet's a
Let them
game,
do what
mate.
they
It's
want.
yeah.
Let people come on there and put them in their place. Let them just blow it out and as many messages as they possibly can, and they still don't get it. Like, just at the end of the day, like, and I had some help with my wife with that because I'm very outspoken and I'm pretty honest and I can be pretty brutal if I don't like someone saying something or doing something or threatening me and my family. So I definitely had help with a lot of the questions and stuff, help with answering that kind of stuff and articulating it in a nice way, making people feel like an idiot without being really bad.
Yeah.
Because if I come back, a lot of my stuff that I say gets flagged.
Yeah.
I had some lady call me all this stuff under the face of the earth, and I was like, "All right, duck face, like don't do that." And then I got flagged, and then I
Mhm.
couldn't get monetized because I called someone duck face when she wished death upon me, and all this stuff. And that's another gray area with like social media. Like they're just straight up evil. The people running a lot of platforms and stuff are just straight up very evil people, and they would rather see people be hated on and evil things than good in this world, which really
Mhm.
really sucks. Just watching social media lately, a lot of my stuff, my platforms weren't really growing, and like growing they were, but like just watching the balance, the fine line of when stuff is slowed down or when they speed things up and what they want to do and manipulate your platform. And if you get political on there, they really close it down. And
Mm.
but then you post something where you just whack off to the crowd and get people like, you do some stupid like knack one hander jerk off video, and then you get millions and millions of followers and 20,000 more followers, and you're like, I could do the exact same trick perfectly fine, executed, not taking the piss, and it'll get X amount of views and it won't go viral, but I can go do something that's kind of inappropriate
Yeah.
and then it's all over the internet, super viral. So just
No, you're
that
dead
in
right, mate.
itself
Yeah.
tell me where, like,
When I crossed the river, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a lot of effort.
yeah.
I had to do it. It was genuine. And
You know what I love about that? And one of my best mates is Matto, but something I love about that is the amount of preparation I know Matto has put in, and I'm not taking it away from him because he's one of my good mates, and man, he's like a science to that bike, man. A science, like it's watching the effort, the materials, this, the that, the bike, like I didn't even know, probably millions he's spent.
Really?
With his company, thousands
Yeah,
to
right.
perfect that bike to do. Like, I mean, you didn't ride a wave and you did certain things and like that, but like, you know, just watching the development of that motorcycle and that whole deal, and then to see you just like some bogan in the middle of the Northern Victoria, just come out with like aluminium plates on the bottom of your bike that you probably just got the local weld shop to create, and you just skimmed across some
$400
pond
that
or
cost me.
some floodwater at friggin' Witten's property, and then you're just like, yeah, she'll cross the Murray River, and then just going out and just crossing the Murray River and making it to the other side was just like, did you even have a boat? Did you even have?
Nah, I had
You had
nothing to
nothing.
float it back up. So if it sunk, it was
Like if the bike went down, where was it? Like, dude, your bike could have got like you've walked the Murray River at its slowest point. There's logs everywhere down there. That bike could have gone forever.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I did
Why
make a
wouldn't it have?
flotation device, but I was like, I probably won't work. I don't even have a boat.
What
So
was it? What was the flotation device?
it was a one of them styrofoam buoys on a cable attached to the bars, just so I could
Yeah,
follow it.
yeah. But it wasn't floating. It was just wherever it snagged, you
Yeah.
would
Oh, I didn't even have that on the
take
bike in the end anyway. Like I don't know how I would have found it if it sank. I just went like raw dogs, 250, nothing.
and one crossing one time.
I did it twice, and it's actually this will blow your mind. So you reckon it was Aussie Bogan? That 250 I did it on didn't have a main jet in it. No main jet. So you'll hear the
Why?
video. If you watch it
Why?
back, you'll hear it bog halfway across the river.
Why?
Well, I was supposed to race it in Supercross that year. I was going to come back and race Supercross, but I broke both my wrists. Trav was halfway through building the bike. I broke the wrist. He just sat it to the side and said, "Oh, don't worry about it." I call him up 2 days' notice. I'm like, "Trav, I want to cross the river on that bike. Can I have it?" He goes, "Yeah, no worries. I think it runs." I started it up. Sounded good. I'm like, "Oh, well, it's all been built."
You said no main? No
No
main.
main jet. Swear to God.
And it ran.
It runs up to 70% throttle, and then the main must open. So
And
I
then
figured
and
it.
then and then you didn't know because you hadn't really rode too much, like haven't rode 252 strokes too much. You probably just thought like you have, but you thought the power was still just good.
I just thought it was maybe tuned a bit shit. It sputtered a bit at the top and whatever. And I wrapped it up and down the road, and then it felt good off the bottom. It was crisp. So it must be good. And then I figured I did a couple of test runs. Like, fucking bogs a bit up top. And as soon as I backed down the throttle to like 60%, it picked back up again. Must got on the mid jet. I'm like, right, if it fucking bogs, I just got to turn it down a bit and it'll be right. Just thinking it was a tuning issue. And then anyway, yeah, sent it across the river. And if you watch the first video, you'll hear it halfway, right in the middle. I went
Yeah.
past 70% on the main jet and it goes, boom, boom. I'm like, no. So I tuned it down and it just fucking picked up again and off it went. So, and then after it, because I gave that bike away, I said, Trav's got a bit
But
of a bog.
but you took it. Just a question. You took it off the bank, drove back around, and then went again.
Again about the main jet.
Where was that?
Well,
Like was that east of Pachuca?
no, so also to finish the story, because I gave that bike away in the end.
Yeah.
And I said to Trav's got a fucking bit of a bog up top. Like, you want to just chuck on the dyno and tune it before we give it away? He goes, yeah, no worries, chuck it on. Anyway, he put it on the dyno and he's figured out it's got no main jet in it. So that was out. Like, we didn't even know until it was about to go away. So that was the end of that. He took it
So
out.
you crossed underpowered. You crossed underpowered.
Yeah, it was all good until he went to 70%. And then after that, it was just dead.
Yeah, but that's still underpowered.
Yeah, basically.
Like
Yeah.
you made it across, and like I feel like the bike loses so much when it's not like on water. It chews it, like it takes it down.
Yeah, so the risk of that was the river was about 90 meters across, and I could get like 110 with a perfect entry before I'd sink 110 meters. So it was like you had to come in as quick as you possibly could. And then if you bounce it all on the entry, you lose all your speed. So if you come in like on a downwards angle,
Yeah,
the
yeah, it has
water.
to be a perfect plane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like depending on the plane, you'd get like within 20 to 30 meters difference in how far you could make it. So that was like the biggest risk was just getting in and not having to bounce. But it was at fucking Baruga, Cobram.
oh really?
Yeah, so we drove over there and I just drove over that morning. I didn't really know where to do it. We just flew in the plane up and down the river and seen like some big sandbanks and then drove over and plugged with the shovel and off she went. Worked out all right.
You get in, and you never got anything for that, like no shit.
No, nothing, eh? Nothing at all. It was on the news and all.
On the news. That's what I thought was funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like, what is it? Trail bike rider crosses the Murray
yeah. Trail
River.
bike rider. Yeah, they're my pronouns now.
No,
Yeah.
I'm stoked to hear that. It's cool to see your career go kind of circle back into like all like a junior pro. I mean, you're working, right? Running you had a little Cat Mini X, I think you had like a 301.5 or 7 or whatever was it?
Yeah, so after racing, like went and did full-time work for a bit in construction here, there, and whatever, and then
Yeah,
picked up concreting. So I ran a concrete business
yeah.
for 3 years, few employees, just went hard knacker for 3 years, and then sort of got to the end of it, which was a year ago, and a couple of houses and all the things I thought I wanted to play in the Mustang and that, and I was just pretty much miserable by the end of it. Like I didn't want that to be my life, sort of thing. So didn't care too much about money then. I thought, fuck, what gets me excited? Like what makes me want to get out of bed and actually, do things. And that was anything bike related, basically. So that's why you're doing this, doing the coaching. Just brought a property to start a track on.
Where's
Um,
that? In Sugar?
just out of Moama. Just out of
Yeah.
Moama. So
Like
yeah,
near where Wittens are?
pretty much. Yeah. Near the Barmer
How many
terminal.
acres? How many acres you get out there?
77.
Sick.
Yeah, so be able to do a track and hopefully maybe try and make something like Club MX in Australia in that regard, and then a bit of a public ride track as well. And
Do it.
whether it
We
works or
need
not,
it.
I don't really care. I love doing it. So
We
uh,
need it. Yeah, give it a go.
yeah, for sure,
Like,
man. Yeah, fuck. Like I can always go back to concreting anytime. It works out good.
yeah,
And that's not what I want to do, so I may as well have a crack at something that gets me excited. So
you still have the little mini X?
yeah, still got the estimate. Yeah, so I
You
still
do?
concrete now like 2, 3 days a week, sort of thing, just to break even while like I'm fucking spending dickloads of money on other shit.
Yeah,
Concrete and keep
yeah.
coming in, and hopefully one day I can not concrete at all and just do the fun stuff, but see where we end up.
Heck yeah.
So,
That's rad, dude. That's cool to hear you have that. You bought a good machine too.
the cat, yeah, that definitely, yeah.
I think that might be one of my next little purchases. I
Oh,
want a little 301.8 with the enclosed cab.
yeah, I wish I got the enclosed cab. I'll tell you what, yeah, once you get spoiled to a cab and then you're out in the elements, it's a bit, you wish you had it, but it's that machine.
I may end up with an open cab, but we'll see. But
Yeah,
like, I might end up buying one of them or doing something, but figuring something out with cap. But I really want the eight, the little 1.8 or a 301.8. That would be the
yeah.
coolest little digger.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
the things you can do with that. It's like just a big
they're
shovel.
cool. Eh? They're
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, they're fast little things.
You can wheelie them.
That's yeah. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
you can endo them. Yeah, get a full bucket.
uh, it's funny just to see. It's good to see like a lot of. For me, I like seeing a lot of the Aussie guys. Um, yourself. I think Jades is driving machines a little bit as well. Cade Mosick's got some equipment. Like just watching a lot of the dudes have their own equipment and out, subbing out or doing what they do and just being in machines, right? It goes hand in hand. Something that I've
It does.
really, really like tried to mix the two and really find a good combination of both. And it's really cool to see. For me, it's like after riding, I know I've got something, right? Like, and that's something I touched on a little bit before. Is a lot of my biggest things in my career, in my life, is yes, I've got all this really cool stuff, good sponsors, good connections, and all that stuff. But when it comes to a stopping point and
Mm,
riding's not doing or cutting it, then what are you going to do? And watching a lot of pros go down different paths, good and bad, really has opened my eyes to being like, all right, you need to be smart about this. What do you want to invest in? What do you love outside of riding dirt bikes? And equipment. That's all I want to do. That's all I've ever wanted to do. That's all hopefully I'll ever do, is just drive tractors, drive heavy equipment, and ride dirt bikes, right? Can work on coaching. I've built a course in my backyard to where I can do something like what you're saying, go and coach the next generation and give people the right tips and that, and have a facility where people can learn it safely and do something like that. You know, if you ever come over, I've got a place for you to stay, but I put this little tiny house thing on my property for riders and stuff that come out, and who knows, like hopefully one day I can open that up to the public and see if I can do something like that, right? To where riders can come and spend a few days with me, and I can take them, run them through the ropes, teach them how to jump a ramp, teach them how to flip, teach them tricks, work on them, teach them how to whip, do things like that. You know, all the bike skills, right?
Yeah,
So,
awesome, mate. You're definitely a thinker, because it's almost a common story that you get to the end of your motorbike career, which inevitably comes, and then probably some dark times come straight after it. That's a pretty common story for a lot. And you're already thinking ahead, so.
For sure. Like going in through COVID and stuff, just sitting around, I got my machines out and went and did mowing jobs and stuff like that.
Nice.
And it's like, what's sick is like you feel like a man. Like I get to live all this cool life doing like cool stuff, and I'm always out working on equipment, always doing man stuff. But there's nothing better than just loading up your ute in the morning, loading up the trailer, putting the skiddy on, and driving to a job site early hours of the morning, and just like getting into it, unchaining your machine, and like, all right, let's go. Like that to me is the cool, like it's kind of weird. Like, I can't, like, not that I can't wait for it, because I'm living really good now, and I'm like going 9 to 5 jobs or earlier, you know, doing early hours and late days. Like it is going to take a toll on me for sure. But like, dude, getting out, just doing stuff here and there, and quoting a little job for your neighbor or your friend or a person gets put back to you, and like it's just like you feel like a man doing like man shit. That's what I love. Like it feel like it feels good, right? Like it does. Like
absolutely, mate. Like you feel like you're building and progressing something that's different and useful. It's not so much about you, like you're doing things for others and you're making a business. It's cool. Absolutely. For sure.
Good stuff. So
legend, mate.
Yeah, man.
Happy days.
Yeah, good times. Good to catch up with you. Been a while. Hopefully I get home soon here and get to see everyone and hang out on the Murray, dude. I think I miss our wildlife, getting out the bush, being on the Murray banks, just hanging out with the boys and just camping in my swag. I just can't wait to get home and camp in my swag and just road trip and just do stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
The old high ass.
Get some meat pies from the servo. Get me a bag of Allen's lollies. Freaking boom.
You cut and draws.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, mate. Well, I really appreciate your time and insights and your intellect. It's unreal, and I'm sure people will get a lot from this. So
yeah, cool, man. Stoked to be on here with you. Stoked to actually sit down with you of all people and just shoot the shit, and it's great. It's really good. Been hoping somebody would come along and not just have to get into a studio. It's really cool just being able to even just do it over like this and get the point across and do what we have to do. So, yeah, it's rad. Pumped.
Cool, mate. Legend.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, take it easy.